welcome back to another episode of the Infinite Podcast.
What a week, man. What an absolute week. I haven't had much of a chance to talk to anyone, really. We had a space, though. We talked a little bit about it there. But, like, what an absolute week. We can't even cover the entire week. That's how good this week has been. So we're going to cover just the Xbox showcase. And next week, I think we're going to get into all the other stuff that happened throughout the week, the interview with Phil Spencer, the Ubisoft stuff. But, man, Xbox is back, baby. Xbox is back. All right. Now that I've had my freak out. Gamsley, welcome back. How you doing? How's your week been? What have you been up to? How's things?
Perfect. I am so hyped. We had a little talk on the Spaces a few days ago, right? When was that? I don't know.
Yeah, right.
I don't know when that was. That was a fun time. I'm super hyped. You know I'm hyped about this. So many good games to play. Long weekend ahead for me to play a lot of my backlog. I'm just super hyped. It got me into games. Like, I had a little slump for like a week now. Or 2 weeks really, that I haven't really felt the need to jump into something. But after that showcase, I'm feeling the itch to hardcore game again. But yeah, that's my hype levels.
Yeah, well, it got me back into Gears, man. So, like, I booted up Gears, and I've never finished the Ultimate. I finished the initial. Thanks, Mark, from the Just Gaming podcast. It's good to see you around, man. I've never finished the Ultimate Edition. I finished the original, obviously. Finished 2, 3, 4, 5. But yeah, man, I jumped back in. I'm picking up the achievements for that as well, so that's cool. Yeah, I'm loving it, man. It's been a great week. It's definitely spurred me on. Let's get to the panel. Umbra, how you doing? How's your week been? Great show yesterday. Welcome back.
Yes. Excellent show, actually, yesterday. About 3 hours, just about 2 hours and 55 minutes, if I'm not mistaken.
It's not.
It's pretty great. Yeah. I mean, had
KSRT.
Yeah, listen, superb. How about that? Yeah, we had KSRT, we had Donte, we had Argide on. It was a good show, man. Had a good time. Excellent, just excellence of execution. You know what I mean? Sean doing our Bret Hart. I almost said Bret Favre, Bret Hart over here. But listen, so we had a discussion about Summer Game Fest and, of course, the Xbox Game Showcase, and I think we did a pretty good job covering it. Would you agree, Donte? You would agree, right?
Indeed, I will.
Don't agree with that, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree.
It's signed, sealed, and delivered. It's too late, Risk. Yeah, man. Happy to be here with you guys tonight. Gamsley, thanks for joining us, brother.
Of course.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Holly, she feels absolutely amazing, fresh from the showcase in person, COVID and all. How you doing? How's your week been? You look amazing, by the way.
Thank you. I look even better than that picture when I'm
She's
sick.
not talking.
You couldn't hear.
Talking?
Yeah, you can. I'm talking. You can hear me, right?
We hear her. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we can hear.
She's there.
No,
This is
we lost
Riskit.
Riskit again.
Hi, Gamsley. Nice to meet
Riskit.
you.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, I was in LA and I came back with many souvenirs. One of them being COVID. So, or the UK flu, or the Xbox era flu, or the jokingly fun names that are floating around there somewhere. They're all in fun, but seriously, it's COVID and it's horrible. And I went the entire time during pandemic with no COVID. I go to LA in 2024 to flip and get COVID. So it's great. Love it. It's a 0 out of 10 experience. Kind of.
Thanks, Jez.
So apologies if I sound terrible or cough or sneeze or whatever in the middle. It's all part of being friends, right? It was a really, really good time.
I'm just gonna quickly interrupt. I don't know if she's still talking, but Donte and Blue, you guys are just sort of loading for me on my end, which means I can't hear you. Can you jump out and jump back in? Welcome to the Infinite Technical Issues podcast.
We'll be right
Gamsley, I
back.
still got you. Umbra, I still got you.
Bye.
But for some reason, I have not got these guys, which is really...
Aww.
It's ever so slightly
It's
frustrating.
okay. Now we won't get COVID. You know what I mean?
Let me just flick them a re-invite, see if that works. Really sorry about the technical issues. I've been having some weird technical issues lately, man. It doesn't matter what I do with this computer setup.
Maybe you need more fingers.
Let me re-add everyone.
You know what I mean?
There's a joke there. I don't know what it is. Holly, are you back? I feel like I might be able to hear you now.
I'm here. Hello.
Ah, gotcha. Did I cut you off mid-sentence?
Definitely, but I stopped. It's fine.
Oh, cool. Well, please continue because I can absolutely hear you now.
No, it was fine. I was just telling everybody how wonderful COVID is and how we had a most excellent time last weekend before the storm. And it was all totally worth it because eventually one day I won't be sick and it'll be a wonderful memory. So anyway, thanks everybody for being here and look forward to talking about all the games that we saw. It's just one after another with a lot of excitement.
I was like, bang, bang, bang. Strap yourself in because it's going to be a bit of a lengthy show, but we'll try to move through it as quickly as possible. Donte, how you doing? How was it? How's your week been? I probably want to come back to you guys as well and just talk a little bit about the showcase being there in person because it's very, very different being there in person. But how you been? How you feeling?
I'm hanging in there, man. Got sick as well with the crew in LA. So it was super fun, and we left with a gift that probably none of us wanted to have. But I'm here, so there's that.
Yeah, man, it's terrible that seems like everyone got COVID. You guys got it. Kay got it. I didn't hear you blaming Jazz, but I assume based on Gamsley's.
No, they didn't say anything about Jazz.
John Clark all weekend long.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're blaming
John Clark. Is it?
Yeah, we're blaming John Clark. He never tested positive, but he was the one who was visibly sick. Like the first thing we saw visibly sick, so we're blaming him.
Is that
hey,
why
Umbra?
he's by himself?
To be fair, he was probably up for like 42 hours straight before he ever went to bed because of the goofy times and the flying. So.
Yeah, but I mean, that's
Oh no, I was just gonna say. Sorry, Riskit. Remember when all the guys that went to LA were like bragging, right, about being there in person? Suckers! Now you're all COVID ridden.
Can he not hear us again?
No, we could. We're good.
Look, yeah, I mean, I did the same thing when I flew over. I think it was a 24-hour flight. So, yeah, I feel his pain, but it's just, I've done so much international travel, like I'm used to lining up my sleep. So I know if I get there and I need to stay up for X amount of hours and then sleep, that's what I do. It's a learning curve. Before we jump into the show, because we definitely gonna jump into that, because I don't want to hold it up at the beginning too much, because we've got a lot to get through. Thank you, Xbox. We've got Alvin with $10 super chat. He said last year, Booty said his problem was so many games he's trying to find a place for them all on the roadmap. Now we know what he meant. Still plenty more that wasn't even there. That's absolutely true. There were so many games that were not shown. We didn't see Replace. We didn't see Stalker. We didn't see Contraband. There's so many games that we didn't see, and so many games that we did see.
We saw Stalker.
Look, I'm just going to jump straight in.
Stalker was there.
You saw? Did we? Was it?
Yeah, Stalker was there.
Yeah, it was there.
Was it?
Yeah, Stalker was there.
Are you sure?
Yeah, it was.
Mute him.
Because I was sitting there.
No, somebody mute him, right?
We were there live, so yeah.
I was there.
It was there.
We're gonna rub it in now. We're gonna rub it in with the I was there stuff.
Yeah, it was there.
I get it. Well, look, let's jump straight into it. I'm gonna jump to Holly on this one because I know me and Holly are both massive fans of COD. So, and they led the show with COD. And just what a way to sort of start the show. And it wasn't something that I was expecting personally. I was like, oh, I don't know if you should start the show with COD, but I understand what they were doing here. They're like, it's back home. And so I felt that when they showed COD at the opening of their show, like this is something that, is now ours, where it's on our team. We're marketing it. COD's back home. I was super hyped. So for a couple of seconds, I was like, huh? And then watching it, I was like, Damn, this looks good. This looks like probably... Look, if you know me, you know that Infinity Ward is more my style of COD, and I much prefer their games. And I haven't really played a Black Ops that I liked since 2. I've played them all, but you know, I've done the trials, and if I didn't like it, I didn't like Cold War's multiplayer. I haven't played the campaign, but I want to, because apparently this follows on from the Cold War campaign, or 2, or it's set in between this. So really interested to see what the campaign's like, but this looks absolutely amazing. I was super hyped, super stoked. Don't know about the Omni movement though, Holly. I'm gonna have to say, like, I think it's gonna get to a point where it's gonna be a little annoying. It's gonna get sweaty, right?
Yeah,
it's gonna get real sweaty.
What's that game called? Apex are going to be like, this is natural for us. But I think OG Cup, or people who primarily play COD, are probably going to be a little bit iffy about it at first until they adjust. Yeah, absolutely. So, but look, I'm super hyped. Looks amazing. The at the very least, campaign looks good, and it's on Game Pass. So if I don't like the multiplayer, it's not $70 that I'm wasting. Holly, what did you think of the COD showing?
Yeah, I mean, I could talk all night about this. This is absolutely massive, huge. And I don't think people who don't play COD I don't think they quite understand, and that's totally fine, right? First of all, I was quite shocked actually that they opened the showcase with COD, which when you actually think about it, it makes sense. They want to brand Xbox with Call of Duty. And by starting the show, even with just that small trailer like that, it starts to, create that effort of tying Xbox to Call of Duty. The direct, I was like sitting on the front of my seat watching this thing. The one thing that I think is super cool is that it seems that everybody is interested in this COD. Like, whether you're a casual COD player, not super interested, or like overly invested in Call of Duty, like I am, like there was something about this one that really draws a lot of people, and I find that really, really cool. The Omni movement thing is huge. It's gonna be very, very different. I'm a little scared of it, but also super excited for it. I watched Unlocked with Miranda this week, and Stella Chung had gotten her hands on, I guess, a preview
#bring
of
Miranda
it.
back. Right.
Yeah, love Miranda. I met her there. Donte and I met her. She's just the sweetest, nicest person in person. But
right.
The Stella was saying that people who are there who are, almost exclusively COD streamers and players and things like that were kind of like, man, I don't know. This is a lot. Like, they were struggling. And they were like, they were just having a hard go because they know how to play COD, right? There's changes every year, but it's all sort of the same mechanics minus the stupid bunny jump and stuff like that. But I think it's going to be a bigger learning curve for traditional COD players, but overall I think it is taking Call of Duty into the future where it needs to go to stay relevant, to stay current. And I think it's going to be a ton of fun once you retrain your own brain to play it. I don't think it's going to be Apex. I think it's going to be Call of Duty with a lot of that Apex mechanics, because I personally don't care for Apex. It's just not my type of shooter. But I could see like the prone on your back, stuff like that. That was huge. That's a big deal. So I'm really excited. The campaign looks absolutely fantastic, full of high energy. I hope it's a little bit longer with all of the like cutscenes and explosions and all that stuff they're showing. It seems like it might be a little bit longer of a campaign than normal, especially since they had an extra year to do all of that. The other thing
that'd be great though.
Yes,
I'd love that.
It would be. They need a longer. I want my Mission Impossible Michael Bay movie Call of Duty, right? And I want it to be at least 10 hours. The other thing that they did is they're bringing Prestige back, and they're dumping it all at the beginning, which is really, really good for the Call of Duty community. I think it's just gonna be better. I'm really excited for it.
Yeah.
What do you think, Chris?
I know. Look, I never cared for Prestige. I was like, whatever. Like, I'm never the guy who goes after all that. I find the weapon that I want, and then I usually stick to that. But problem is that they change the meta every update, right? So then I usually find myself being left behind, probably mid battle pass. So so that's the next battle pass comes along, and I'm like, meh, I don't want to do all that again. I don't want to upgrade this gun
casual.
again. And I get that's the draw.
You know what I mean? You casual.
You gotta do the
goofball.
camo grind. You gotta get platinum. You gotta get you gotta get all the.
You gotta get everything. You gotta get good at everything, so that there is no meta for you.
Before we move on, I'll jump to you, Gamsley, like 2 seconds. Lotus Spree gifted 5 memberships, so I really appreciate you, Lotus Spree, and then followed up with a further 20 memberships. So thank you very much. Really appreciate Lotus Spree, an absolute champion community member. Say hi to them in the chat and thank you if you got gifted a membership. Like, please do say thank you. Like, it's something that really bothers me when people get gifted codes or games or memberships and they don't say thank you. So please do that. Gamsley, talk to me.
What's up?
What do you think of this new card?
Oh man, I think what they're trying to accomplish with this game, they're gonna almost nail it. The omnidirectional thing is quite interesting. Instead of the bunny hop, people are just gonna span dive and hop everywhere. It's gonna be some crazy stuff going on with that game. So they're gonna replace the bunny hop with something else to do with like multi-directional movement. I mean, that's going to be the double-edged sword, right? It's really fun. There's lots of ways to use it, but once the fan base finds a certain angle to jump or a certain way to jump, they're gonna spam that stuff, and something new besides the bunny is gonna pop out of there once the public gets it. But I'm super excited on how fast it looks. I love the prestige system. If you're hardcore, COD fan that just stays on that until the next COD comes out, I mean, this is for you, right? That's what those players are looking for. They're speaking directly to your heart. The campaign looks like they're going back to the roots of one of the best campaigns in Call of Duty, which was Black Ops 2. So, I mean, they're really hitting the notes there. They know they got the nostalgia. They know they got something big here, and they're taking their time with it. So I think they're gonna nail it. It looks great. The direct looked great. They're trying to speak to as much Call of Duty fans that they can, and I think this was a good showing. I'm not a gigantic COD player due to my disability. I'm not very precise with shooting games like shooters, but I enjoy it with my brother. I jump in, I get a little really, really hardcore for about a month, and then I put it down. But my brother's super excited about this, and his whole raid group in WoW is super excited for it, and his whole Diablo kind of cult that he has is really super excited for, and I'm gonna jump in day one and play it with those people. So I'm really excited. It showed well here, and I am surprised they opened with it. I thought this would be like one of those bangers you show maybe the third last kind of thing, where they show COD, we know it's coming, they give a big showing and then talk about it in the direct, but they chose to open with it, which I found pretty strange, but it's symbolic. They're going for the 360 nostalgia hit and layout with their show. So yeah, it worked here. It was a good showing.
The way you just said Diablo. How did you say that? Could you
listen to me? Listen to me, you little. No, I'm not gonna fucking. I'm not gonna do that. Diablo. All right.
It took everything I had in me not to unmute as you were talking. I'm like, let me stop myself.
It's like, you're like having a special Nick moment.
Don't do it.
Diablo.
Oh, see, Kay knows it too.
Diablo.
I'm like, oh.
Listen, I said Diablo. All right. It's Diablo.
You've been around Deadly, and they
yeah, too much. Weirdos. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Anyways.
Look, Umbra, we'll jump to you because I know that you're not a massive COD player. You're not really into it, but just thoughts on this particular one. Is this one that's going to make you sort of come into the COD franchise, catch up to where you need to be? Because I know you're fastidious with that. Catch up to where you need to be in the campaigns and jump on this one?
Yeah, that's me for sure. The fastidious one. No, man, yeah, the campaign I'm absolutely hyped for. As I talked about it on the show, it looks like Michael Bay meets G.I. Joe. And the best way I can put that is the dude on a motorcycle looked like Flint or somebody else. I'm, I'm like, is that Flint? You know, and you never know with them. They might have the license for them at some point with Mattel, but it looks pretty good to me. I thought campaign wise, you know, it looks beautiful. I know obviously too they'll have zombies, so that'll be in there. I did play zombies, thanks to Holly, by the way, who did gift me this current game. So I played a bit of that, and I enjoyed that enough. Did not care for general multiplayer. I tried; it wasn't for me. As I'm playing it, I started to lose more patience and care, and I was just like, all right,
Skill issue.
Yeah, it's a skill issue for sure. It's
Skill
skills
issue.
slash. Yeah, it's definitely that, but it's skill. Then it's I think maybe my old manness is catching up to me or something because that Twitch
I
stuff.
have half your fingers. I don't want to hear it. You know what I mean? I have your fingers.
Gaming.
Got it.
Come on now.
Just because you've taught yourself how to play it with your toes does not mean that I'm. Let me stop. But no, but seriously, it's just not for me. But are you really good at it, though, Gamsley? Is that your thing? Call of Duty?
No. I mean, no. I said on top. Competitively, I'm a competitive guy. It's just I want to. I try so hard to be good at shooters, but I just can't. I just can't. Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? I'm gonna jump kick you.
No, but in the end, it doesn't really matter. But I was going to say, for me, Call of Duty, it's really cool now to see that it's in Game Pass, though. Holly came by in the chat for the fix, and she made a mention of it, which was true. It's like, I don't think we're seeing all of these other games here, and I think even the consensus was after the show was like, we didn't really care about the after show thing because we know Call of Duty is Call of Duty. We're going to get it right. But because all of the other games they showed were so powerful and registered so much with everybody, Call of Duty took a backseat to it. But it's absolutely major that Call of Duty is going into Game Pass. So outside of how I feel about it personally, it's irrelevant. Campaign wise, I'm definitely going to play through it. I'm still waiting for them to put in the past Call of Duties into Activision and such like that games into Game Pass. I'm not sure what's going on with that. But in general, this is massive right here. So as far as that goes, it's a W for Xbox. And the campaign looks fun to me. Like you said, you guys talked about the whole omnidirectional movement, whatever they're added. And I feel like you said, somebody's going to find a way to game it anyway. They're going to be dolphin diving all out of the way and getting away from you anyway. So it is what it is. Mm-hmm. But, I'm happy for those who really love the franchise, knowing that it's going into Game Pass. That's what I'm most happy about.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's a huge W for Game Pass. And the other thing is some news sort of came out. There's a lot to cover, so we can't cover everything that sort of came out this week. But apparently that was right down to the wire because the guys at it's not Infinity Ward who's making this one. It's the other guys. Treyarch, the guys at Treyarch didn't know whether it was going into Game Pass until like right before the show, right? So like right when it was sort of rumored, that's when they also found out. So I think it was a discussion that they had. I think they made the right decision. Donte, like, what are your thoughts on the new COD? And the omnidirectional movement? You talked a little bit about that, but I think it is going to become one of those things that people will adopt and it'll get super sweaty. People will get angry about it and they'll want to go back. Like, I think it's going to be a bone of contention in the community. So it'll be very interesting to see how that plays out. But for me, it looked amazing. How'd it look to you?
Yeah, Xbox did something I think they had to do with COD. So I wasn't surprised to see it lead off the show because the idea is like, hey, it's your IP now and you want to make it so that way COD becomes synonymous with Xbox and Game Pass. What they also end up doing, Peter, forgive me, my voice is kind of jacked up because I'm still sick, but they also end up doing a good job of showing COD to the point where like people who normally would watch it and say, oh yeah, great, another annual COD, and they'll just play because they play COD, but I think they made a good compelling case to be like, hey, if you haven't played COD in a while, now you're interested in playing it, especially, the campaign, and if you're someone who probably hasn't played the multiplayer, you're probably gonna either play the zombies mode or something like that, one of the two, just to at least check it out, right? And if you're subscribed to Game Pass, now you have an incentive to be like, I haven't played it in a few years. Let's see what this is about, especially with the new omnidirectional movement and the different improvements that they added to it. So for me, I like the showing of it. I thought it was really, really good to start off the show and to kind of slap that Game Pass logo and make sure that people know, like, off the bat. I think they probably won some people over at that point. I think some people probably said, you know what, I'm going to cop an Xbox, be it if it's going to be a Series S or a Series X. You know, there's going to be a few that they're going to turn and say, hey, I can get that day one with Game Pass along with everything else that they show that look really, really great. That's what you got to do to basically try to win some hearts and minds, to especially that casual player who primarily was just playing like COD on PlayStation, right? If they could see that plus the other games and know they can get it with Game Pass, to me, I think that's the first step. And they got to keep hammering that home. Outside of that, just the showing and presentation of it, I thought it was good. It was a nice little entry point until we got to the Direct, where it made me interested, and then the Direct pretty much solidified it for me, where I was like, yeah, I'm definitely gonna be grabbing this day one when it actually comes out. So yeah, good showing for COD.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see Grey Monad in the chat as well put down my local EB Games that sold out of Xbox Series X's 3 days after the showcase. Great friend of mine, great friend of the show too. Yeah, it'd be really interesting to see what the numbers were for the is this the show with a very deep voiced female that drives a basic Ultima? That'll be you, Holly, right?
Is he back? That guy?
No.
Are you still driving that Prius?
Did he drive by and bounce again? Did he drive?
That was one of the most hilarious things that popped
Wait, who
up
is it?
last
Did we
week.
find out who it was?
Stephen Avery. Stephen Avery, if you're here.
Is he okay, I'm
watching you.
Stephen Avery with the drive-by. Ultimate. We don't know if it's an insult or a compliment, but
that was so good. That was so good. It'll live in infamy. But it would be amazing to see what sort of sales numbers they did after that show. I'd be really interested. I think if it's just a time to release some sale numbers from Xbox, now would be the time. It'd be a great time. Look, we'll jump onto the next game straight off the bat, which I think from memory was Doom. So for me, I've never been a massive Doom fan. I tried it out a few times. I bought the game, returned it when it first came out, Doom 2016. Tried the second Doom when it came to Game Pass. It's not for me, but I will say, and I think, look, this is my problem, I think, with the original or the 2016 is I kind of didn't like and this is my same sort of problem with Spider-Man 2. I don't really like when they take the control away from you when you don't do the cool thing, and the cool thing just takes like a button press. Like I don't know, it always sort of messes me, and I really don't like it in my first-person shooters. Like I can deal with it in Spider-Man, but I didn't like it in Doom. And from all accounts, they sort of dodged the question I think that Ryan McCaffrey asked about the finishes. Like we didn't see any finishes in this trailer. Are we going to get them? So on and so forth. So I think we're actually, this is going to be all you. So this may shift, and that bit right there with the skull pushing through the thing and you're firing bits of skull at people. This looked good. This might bring me into the Doom franchise. Like I was pretty excited for this one. I'm going to jump over to you there, Holly, as a first-person shooter lover. Are you a big Doom fan? I don't think we've ever really talked about Doom, but did this float your boat?
So the funny thing is, I've never been like a huge Doom person. I've played a little bit here and there, but not really like gone for it. But this game, this trailer in particular was my highlight of the show. I must have watched this trailer like 25 times now. I'm obsessed with it. I can't wait for this. This was the number one for me. It's so good in so many ways. The dragon there at the end where you're on top and like blowing the fire in his mouth. I didn't even catch that till like the third time because there's so much going on all the time. The Skull Crusher gun is flipping amazing. It's just the whole thing. The furry cape. Get out of here, man. Like I can't wait. Like it's so good. So good. They knocked it out of the park. I don't even care if it's going to PlayStation. I'm just like, it's awesome. That's me.
Everyone needs a furry cape.
Yes.
Shout out to Lotus Esprit in the chat there for the 50 memberships. Guys, please do thank Lotus if you get a membership, and thank you very much. Really
took the
appreciate
words
you.
right out my
Thank
mouth.
you.
Lotus.
Also,
really
shout out
nice.
to everybody who's in the chat and who's watching and listening wherever you're listening at. Shout out to Idle Sloth, my boy Fonz and Colt and the Wawa. Is that never gonna stop? That's never gonna stop. Is it?
He's gonna send it to your voicemail.
Red Wolf. Everybody's in the chat. Shout out to everybody for stopping by. We appreciate y'all.
Yeah, absolutely, everyone. And anyone who wasn't at the showcase, anyone's just dropping by for the first time, please hit the like button, share us out. We go live 8 p.m. EST every Friday, 8:15, depending on what's going on technically in the background. Subscribe so you can know when we go live. Donte, jump to you. What are you thinking of Doom? Like, this is something different. That bit right there where he's got that mace swinging around, looks like we're going to get a lot more melee in the game as well. Big, massive mechs in the game as well, fighting massive demons, flying around on a dragon. I don't know, man. This might bring me in. What are your thoughts on Doom?
It's fire, man. I mean, there's really there's nothing else really to say. It just looks fire. In terms of like, if you want something that's just kind of crazy, chaotic, frenetic gameplay that's nice and smooth, because we know if id Tech is going to run really, really nice and smooth, even though there's a bunch of chaos happening, Doom is where it's at. And that right there is how you like, that's how you get people back into it, right? Because this is what Phil must have been talking about, right? Because there was like, when they asked him some years back as to, what's the thing that you're really excited about, or what studio is working on something that you're really excited? He said, this is what he meant. And when this thing came out, you're like, okay. At first, when you saw the first opening, like what we're showing right now, we're thinking like, okay, is this going to be something that is going to be like a RPG? But then when obviously you see the Slayer, you're like, oh, okay, this is the new Doom. And then when it gets into the action, just you see the movement, the use of the shield, the parry mechanic right there, and not to mention getting into the large mech, and like Holly mentioned, being able to kind of that riding that beast that has the ability to blow fire. That's just fire across the board, man. So yeah, I'm all about this, man. This is I'm telling myself right now, because I was late to Doom Eternal. So this is gonna basically be one that I'm not gonna be late to. I'm gonna hit this up day one when it drops. This looks fire.
Yeah, look, I like I said, I'm not a massive fan of the Doom franchise since 2016, but this looks great. Look, it's got a chainsaw shield. I don't know if you noticed as well, but like wherever you're actually firing and hitting these guys, like if you hit them in the, like right there, you hit them centrally, like it has an effect there. It doesn't have an effect on the rest of the body. So it's really, really cool. Like you see, he sort of pushes back on the shoulder when you hit him in the shoulder. It's this looks like it is absolutely amazing. And it's that old IW tech. It's the same tech they splintered off that they're using for COD. So absolutely amazing engine, amazing looking game. Gamsley, what are your thoughts on Doom Eternal? You did say you weren't massive into your FPSs, but this is, for like a single player sort of experience, so might be more up your alley.
No, well, hey, wait a second. The only reason why I'm not into, like COD, for instance, because I'm a very competitive person. That's much different. I love shooters when I could just relax with them, and this is definitely that game, right? I could not relax, but have a blast with it. There's definitely going to be finishers here. I think there's prompts, like there's obvious prompt room there to kind of finish some of these creatures. But yeah, when the shield comes out, you see him with the cape here, the mantle with the fur and stuff. Oh my god, so awesome. That end shot with the flying dragon, all of a sudden it's Panzer Dragoon. Like, I don't know what the hell is going on with this game, but I'm all for it. This is a good one, guys, and it's all going to Game Pass. I just can't believe it. Look at the time we're in. Look at this. I'm looking at the footage right now for like the 20th time. This just looks like so much fun. Doom is one of those franchises that it knows what it is, and I hope it never changes and just stays the course. High, like quick paced, just metal, man. This is crazy cool. Yeah, I'm digging this. Day one for me, easily.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm definitely going to. Well, look, every single one of these games that we saw at the showcase is, like you said, Game Pass. So every single one of them is going to be day one for me. Absolutely, definitely. Umbra, where are you at with Doom? That bit where they're spitting the fire in is crazy as well. And I think Game Pass, the Game Pass account did like a whole sort of a meme with that, like saying that that was Xbox spitting games into Game Pass. So that was pretty cool as well. Umbra, what are your thoughts on Doom? Are you super
Before he
hyped for it?
became
Where
a
you at?
hero, he was the super weapon of gods and kings. Oh man, I'm hyped. It looked dope as hell. What do you want me to say? I mean, for one, I mean it's super metal, right? People will always point out it's metal, and you can get metal out of this. I see that. It looks dope. I know some of the worries were like, oh, it's year zero. That was the previous thought of the name, and it probably was before they changed it. But are we going to get the guns and all of that? Yeah, we're getting the guns. We're getting the guns. You got the super shotgun that blew that demon's body halfway off, and you got the Captain America shield. I dubbed it I dubbed him Captain Doomslayer the Barbarian, and he looks badass, man. That armor looks so cool. He has the fur cape, no doubt off some animal or monster he slayed here in this demon world or whatever he's at in hell. And he got the grinder, little machine gun there, the skull grinder, I guess we can call it.
So crazy.
It looks dope as hell. I mean, I always talk about and praise Unreal Engine 5, and it should be praised because it is a great engine, and it's about time you all finally acknowledge that.
It's
but
not.
yes,
Okay.
see, but id Tech, we have to give it its due praises too. I mean, you look at games
it's got to.
It's operated on. Yeah, you look at this, you look at Wolfenstein 2, for instance, and Wolfenstein in general, and you look at Call of Duty, they use a modified id Tech engine, and all of those are gorgeous. So it's very clear id Tech to be fair, outclasses Unreal when it comes to just performance. So it definitely shines here. I don't know how you could come away from seeing that and not being pumped. Like it was with pure adrenaline. I called it pure adrenaline in game form. You come from Call of Duty with a Michael Bay-esque, Call of Duty trailer straight to this. I just love the pacing of how they did all of that, and it just I imagine in a theater when you guys were there, it had to be like show-stopping, like just pumping all the way through.
It just caught you off guard. You're like, wait, what? And like Cold even said at first, I thought it was some sort of like Elder Scrolls or something because the first scene is so medieval and, and then you're like, you see the furry cape and then you're like, wait a minute, right? And then it just goes.
The gun comes out, like the shield comes out. You're like, oh man.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. When the shotgun comes out, you're like, okay, all right. And I don't even like mech games. And that mech.
You think you're always going to have the shield with you the whole way through?
The Atlan, they call it. The mech is called Atlan.
Yeah. I don't like mechs, but that mech, I was like, yes, it's so big.
Whoa. Settle down now.
Go for it.
Don't do it.
Go for it. I've been clipped before.
Hey, we're gonna have another
Stop it.
BJ blast.
It's all good.
Oh my gosh, don't do that.
Big
If I had to,
listen, I'm used
if
to
I had
that,
to,
I'm just saying we don't want to talk like this on the show.
I'm saying.
if I had to nitpick one,
might not be in our bracket, Gamsley, but me and Donte.
No. Jeez. If I had to nitpick one thing, because we can't just throw all the positivity, can we? Let's throw one thing. The one thing that's I didn't like about Eternal that I kind of got a hint here is I don't like the HUD sections of Eternal. Like I don't like the HUD thing. Right, where you go up to the spaceship and then go down. I didn't really like that in Eternal. And clearly you saw signs of that there. And I just hope they make those sections a little bit better. Like I hope they make the HUD, if there is one, which I'm just guessing. I hope they make that a little bit better. But from what I'm seeing, it's still there, right? Where he like goes up the thing and he equips himself and then he shoots down. So yeah, that's the one thing I hope they fix with this one.
Yeah, well, look, I mean, that's the thing with this entire showcase. Really, all there is minor nitpicks throughout just about every game. So, I mean, yeah, there's definitely critiques. We talked about those in the spaces, but like, there's minor nitpicks. I think with every game, but like, honestly, every game just hit hard. I just want to shout out to our chat. Our chat's absolutely amazing. You guys are great. Really appreciate you showing out every week and supporting us. And Udani Quazada always bringing the heat with the jokes. He said, "Furry cape, is that a slang for merkin?" Which I don't know if you know what a merkin is, but look it up. And guys, please hit the like button, share us out. We go live 8 p.m. EST every Friday. Well, I want to move on to the next game. We're going to try to sort of move this along because I think we're already at like something like 40 minutes and we're only 3 games in, so we're going to get moving. But the next game off the rack, interesting one. There was a lot of talk about this not having any gameplay, but I believe it did. So I saw a bit of talk on Twitter about it didn't have gameplay. And why was it there? What did it really show us? Of course, I'm talking about State of Decay 3. And I feel like it showed us what I wanted to see for the minute until they're ready to really show proper gameplay. Shut up, Fonz. 3 out of 10. Fonz bringing the negativity. That's the way. I felt like this showed us what it's going to look like, which is one for me. It looked amazing. Graphically, it looked great. Yes, of course, it didn't show us what the base building is going to be like. It didn't show us what the survival's going to be like. Don't listen to Fonz. He's just messing with you. Like this.
Which one are you talking about?
To me,
which one is he clowning him on?
This to me. Did what it needed to do. I think it did enough. It didn't show us everything about what the game's going to be like. Showed us a little bit of combat, and if you sort of see here, this I think was gameplay. I'm fairly certain they've removed the HUD. Obviously, when you see them start actually firing at the zombies, it gets in behind them, and that's very much the view that you have when you're playing the game in 2, right? Like right there where she's shooting that shotgun. That to me looks like gameplay. So it's a tiny little bit of gameplay. And look, I thought this was amazing. I want to see more. I want to know what's going on with the survival elements. I want to know what's going on with the base building. There's a lot more to see, but that's great. I don't think they need to shoot their entire shot, right? In one showcase. I think they did enough to just show a little tease of this, a little bit of gameplay, and sort of keep it moving. So I'm pretty excited for State of Decay. I am hot and cold on State of Decay. Like I have moments where I really loved it, played it for a bit, and then I have moments where I booted it up and I'm like, I can't do this right now. So and also with the co-op elements, I think you really need to co-op with it. And I did a minimal amount of co-op. So I think this is one that I look forward to co-oping, hopefully with you guys on the panel, and we can smash through this when it comes out. But I think it did what it needed to do for me personally. So Umbra, I'm gonna jump to you. And just what were your thoughts on State of Decay? Did you think it did what it needed to do? Did you think it needed to be there? There's a lot of talk about like this showcase was so big that maybe they didn't need to show this until they had more to explain about the game. But I think that's a deep dive thing personally. Where are you at with it?
No, I'm perfectly happy that they showed it. They needed to show it. It's been well past 3 years, almost 4 years, if not 4 years, right? So it's been in a development way long enough for us to finally get to see something and to see at least some type of proof that they have been doing something. And to hear that the Coalition and I believe they said, was it Obsidian or is it In Exile? Somebody, I forgot who else it was.
Obsidian.
It was Obsidian, yeah.
Yeah.
Helping them with things like that. I love that. You see the whole, as we said, the organic work with the teams behind Xbox, helping them out, helping other teams out. We're seeing that across the board, and that's really dope. It looked good to me, man. I've never really been. I love that new logo, by the way, Undead Labs. I think, good, yeah, it looks good. For me, getting the Coalition, the Masters, and that the Coalition has their own like tech team that goes around helping people, by the way. So that's when they say the Coalition, it's not like they're stopping Gears work and going over there, but they're the masters of Unreal Engine. So why not have them, get their own specialty team to go help out people using that engine in-house? I think that's pretty dope. Or as far as Xbox Studios and such go, or whatever. So it looks really good. You can see sections cut in and out where they remove the reticle, whatever, and the hood, and just showed them shooting and stuff, like right here where the lady's getting on top of the van, and you can see clearly that's gameplay. It looks really sharp. You could definitely see the Unreal Engine 5 Unreal Engineering. It looks good, man. I'm getting hyped for it personally. I've never really been a State of Decay gamer. I played a bit of part 1 way back when it first came out, and I just kind of moved on. I didn't dislike it. I was just like, okay. But
two
this
two expanded on it. If you haven't played 2, like it really did expand on it, but it didn't get to where I think it needed to be. So I think hopefully 3 does.
Yeah. Well, maybe my thing for me, what I hope it does, and I don't know if we saw any proof of that just from this, is that it has an actual story, a solid narrative. That's what I need. I can't just run around all day and it's just live service multiplayer running around and permadeath. That's good. That's nice. It sounds nice. I need a definitive story and definitive end. If I want to continue playing after that, then that's cool. But I need something that is a beginning, middle, and end, and probably a little denouement in between that end. So I that's what I need. I need something like that to really draw me in. I'm just not interested in forever playing a game multiplayer. It's just not for me. So, but it looked really, really good. Again, you're not gonna see me, as much as Kay tried to highlight me praising id Tech, you're not gonna see me downing Unreal Engine too much. So it's looking gorgeous. I can't wait.
Want to cut that check?
You can't have them mess with my money.
Need that epic money.
Exactly. And the thing is too, you're going to see it improve. The visuals are going to improve over time because you can look at other games. You can look at Fable. You can look at other games that's still in works. The visuals are continuously improving. So I expect this to look really, really good by the time it's actually coming out. So they have, I'm sure, a year or 2 more that they're going to work on it. Take your time, get it right. I'm loving it.
I mean, absolutely as well. And the other thing to remember is these games that are coming out through this generation, if they've implemented it, just a little bit of a side skew, and I'll jump to you games after this, but is that FSR 3 is available to these games, all these games. We've seen it implemented once on Xbox with the game that didn't do Immortals of Avium. Implemented FSR 3, and I sort of tested that out as much as I could, and the jump in frame rate was from I was getting just below 60, 55 to 60 with FSR 3 on, and frame generation I was getting anywhere from 100 to 114 frames. So that's a huge jump in frames, gives you a lot more headroom to play with graphical fidelity. So it's going to be very interesting to see what they do with this next generation of games with the tech that's now available. Should have been available at launch with this, but hey, if we're getting it now, we're getting it now. It looks amazing to me, this whole showcase, but this game looked beautiful. I definitely believe there was gameplay, and I think they need to show it for myself, just because otherwise everyone would be asking where this game was. I mean, let's be honest. A lot of people were saying they didn't need to show this, but they did. We needed to know where it was at. Gamsley, what are your thoughts on State of Decay 3? Are you a big State of Decay fan? Zombie man? Where are you at?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, hell yeah. I'm a huge State of Decay fan, period. I think that this is a very unique genre that isn't quite tapped into by the AAA developers around the world right now. And Xbox having a game with this, with a cult following behind it, is very powerful. This game needed to do 3 things to improve. It needed untethered co-op. It needed a boost in the graphics. And it just needed stories to link your companions together and make your companions feel important. And I think this trailer hit every single note. We know what the gameplay is. They showed us the dismemberment. They showed us the tactical combat with the car and stuff. This is clearly just State of Decay 3, but much improved graphically and added those extra features that fans want from this game. You get the classic enemies that, I'm sure got a loud applause from fans that play this game, like the big boy that you see right now walking to the car. We all know what this is. This is going to be a fun game. It's going to be awesome, and I love the emphasis on story-driven characters that, obviously we're seeing here with the permadeath stuff. I think they don't give us a clear story through line like all the other State of Decays. They don't give you those story through lines. They give you a beginning and an end.
Choose your own adventure.
And then exactly, they don't give you a beginning and an end. This, if anything, they're going to give you a beginning and an end, but they're going to go deeper within the companion stories, which is the thing that always mattered in
Pause.
this game. And so yes, yes, make your bed and lay in it. But yeah, that's what this game is going to be, and I'm all for it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'm 110% for this. Holly, I've talked enough, so I want to jump to you and get your view on State of Decay 3. I know you're into your co-op, so this would probably be a big one for you. Looking forward to pause again. Looking forward to State of Decay 3. Do you think it needed to be there? Do you think it did enough to earn its place?
I think people have been looking for this game for a while now, so the fact that we saw something is good. I'm not a big State of Decay person. I've never really I don't know. I've tried it several times and just really never got the game hook, but I was usually playing alone.
That's the problem. You need to pick up one of these guys, and go play.
Thing.
Yeah, yeah. So that's probably why. There was definitely gameplay in it. Like I was watching very carefully, like right there. Like that's gameplay.
Yeah,
and this is right here.
It's just that there was a lot of intermixed, storytelling, CGI, whatever. That I think, it's just whatever. I don't know. I feel like people know what this game is going to be for the most part, but the questions are, and I think they have to tell later, is what are they expanding upon? What are they doing with the mechanics to improve upon it? And where are they going with this to make people want to come back for a third one? I think they'll do that in the future. The point of this trailer and what I've heard from other people is that State of Decay really wants to, there's always been permadeath, right? State of Decay, but they really are trying to drive home the narrative of when you lose one of your companions, it's actually, pretty serious, and there's a much more bigger tie to those companions, right? And I think that's exactly what they're trying to show in this trailer, and I think it does a good job of that. Where it goes, I will see. I assume it's a next year game, but especially given how long it's been. But they keep doing really good support for State of Decay 2, so maybe this is a little further out. But it was all right. It was all right.
Yeah, it's interesting. There's a lot of look, I would say it hooked me to want to know more. Hasn't hooked me to go like, yeah, I'm definitely like can't wait to play this game. It just sort of hooked me to go, all right, this looks good what I'm seeing, but give me more. Like how is this all going to work? Are the mechanics smoother? Is the driving smoother? Like, is the base building like more sensical, a little bit easier, a little bit more refined? What is, the cost of losing one of your members? Because obviously when you lose a member, it does have an effect, but not a major effect in 2. So yeah, I think the concept of this game when it came out, the original one was like fresh. No one had ever seen it. They wanted to see more of it and it more developed. So yeah, look, I'm looking forward to seeing more of it. So I agree with you, Holiday, 110%. Donte, where are you at with this? Do you think it's done enough, showed you enough for you to be hyped for it? Or are you still just hungry for more?
Oh, yeah, it has. So we saw the teaser 3 years ago, right? And of course, that was just like it was a sizzle, right? And everyone's kind of wondering like, okay, how's the actual gameplay going to look compared to what we're seeing for the sizzle? Because, your first inclination is to say, hey, it's going to look absolutely nothing like that trailer. I'm someone who played State of Decay 1, didn't really get too much into that one, but played a lot of State of Decay 2. And to what Holly said earlier is that like it is truly a game that is better played with like a group. So if you got like a group of friends, it's best to be played that way, where you're building up your bases and then you're setting it up to recruit people in there that can help give you your base perks and stuff like that. And then protect it from when you get invaded, and then going out and scavenging together and stuff like that. That's the fun part of it. And I enjoyed it a lot. We played a ton of it. I think in terms of whatever, it's not a linear story, but in terms of its story beats, I think we did the whole thing in the time that I played with it. So I'm someone who's definitely excited about the prospect of the next one. And I thought this one did what it needed to do. We need to kind of get an idea as to like how far from that teaser we saw 3 years ago is the game going to actually look. And so they showed us that, mixing in like some story elements or narrative elements, But then there's a couple times in there you'll see that there's gameplay where it's like she's on top of the roof of the car, she's shooting, and then there's another one where like right after that she's on the ground and one of the characters is shooting like with a handgun. Those are the two parts that I can call out that definitive are like that's the game. That's you actually playing the game. It looks like it has a darker tone compared to the previous ones too. So that I like too, like changing it, making it seem a little bit more dire. The one thing I am curious about, and I hope that they fix, was the tethering. The tethering was kind of
that's
annoying.
Confirmed. That's
okay,
confirmed.
Cool.
Yeah.
So if they fix the tethering, I think that'd be awesome because that's the one thing was like it would feel like someone couldn't be 100 yards away from you before like you'd have that effect, and that's not really cool if you want kind of a shared open world with you and your friends you're playing co-op. So if they fix that and they manage to add some new mechanics to it and make it seem visually I'm already on board for it. I'm just kind of curious as to like what are they improving on from the previous two, but they did enough for me to get me interested. It was a great showing. I thought it's exactly what they needed. I didn't even expect them to show some of the gameplay. I thought it was just going to be like a little bit more of an in-depth trailer. But I'm glad that they mixed in enough for us to say, okay, this is kind of like what the game's going to look like. We didn't get anything in terms of, I don't think they gave us a date, right? So this is probably still going to be maybe 2026.
Yeah, I think 2026 maybe launch of the new console. I think there's a couple of games in this showcase where they've sort of done that to sort of give us a look into the future. We do got to get moving as well because as Alvin said, this is looking like a 4-hour podcast. Hopefully not. We are going to skip a couple of things, and the couple of things we're going to skip, I'll tell you after this. Udani Quizada, again, always bringing the fire in the chat, is an absolute champion. One of our favorite moderators. Gifted 5 memberships. Thank you very, very much. You're a legend. Really appreciate you, Udani. And you can find Udani everywhere, moderating everywhere. Like, he's an absolute legend. We are going to skip a couple of games. The games that we're going to skip on this one is Dragon Age. Look, I know there's probably some fans of Dragon Age in the chat. You guys maybe want to talk about it, but because it's not first party, I just think it's a great thing that they had that in the showcase. The look and the I think it's sort of moving like Obsidian did towards more of a sort of a cartoony art style. A lot of people are not happy about that, so we'll see what happens. Shattered Space, that looked amazing, but DLC, so we're going to leave it. Fallout 76, no one plays that or cares about it, so we're going to leave that. I'm just kidding.
How dare you, sir?
I was about to come off this mic.
Not while we're here.
Boy.
We're not going to do that slander.
No. Donte and I spent many hours in it this week.
Facts.
Wow, you got 3 against you, Riskit. I'm about to go jump through the freaking
not on my watch, man. Not on my watch.
screen.
I know that Colt's a big fan as well, and I know that Phil Spencer's a big fan, especially after his camp got completely nuked. That was hilarious. And then to see him doing the mission to like nuke back the other guy, that's going to be fantastic. When that, I can't wait for that moment when like the No More Mr. Nice Guy Phil nukes out the other camp. But look, seriously, they look great. Shattered Space looked amazing. The update that they did recently, I think, is going to really lend itself well to the new DLC. I'm waiting I did boot up Star Space, and I'm like,
Star what?
Starfield.
Starspace.
Waiting. Starspace. The most generic game ever made with stars and space. Look, I'm waiting for that Shattered Space DLC to sort of hit before I jump in and check out the update. Look great. Got to skip over it because we got to move through these games because there's a lot here, and I know that we've got 2 very sick panel members, and they also are not well. So we've got to move on to the next game, which I think off the run.
I see what you did there.
Did you see what I did? That was quick. It was
like a little slight sick burn. Is that what you did?
Now this one, very interesting, right? So for
Oh
me,
my God.
Personally, I'm really not into the turn-based RPG stuff. This had me interested though, right? Really interested, because the story, I think, is what sort of dragged me in. I'm like, okay, cool, right? So every year she paints a new number, wipes out everyone of that age, right? So, and then that expedition of that age, they go out to try to stop. This is their last chance to live, right? Because if you're 33 and you're in Expedition 33, you're going out to stop the painter, because, if she paints up that next number, you're gone, right? So this I thought was a really interesting sort of story. The other thing that sort of grabbed me was, weirdly as well, the cut scenes didn't look as good as the gameplay scenes. which I thought like this. This looked way better, I think, a little bit than some of the facial like stuff. But looks absolutely beautiful all round. Story's really interesting. World looks sort of messed up like crazy. The combat in it, I like the fact that it's turn-based, but if you see here, so you can actually block or perfect parry some of the attacks, right? So normally with this sort of stuff with Final Fantasy, you'd be sitting there and you're waiting for the enemy, like, to do their attack, and then it's your turn. And obviously your attention can turn, or, you maybe not quite in the moment, right? But this will keep you in the moment. So I'm super hyped about this one. I'm really stoked they got this one in Game Pass. I think it's a great addition. I think it sort of brings in that JRPG crowd as well, which there's a lot more of happening inside Xbox and around Xbox. So I think great move for them. Look fantastic. Fidelity's great. Story looks amazing. Even the combat to me is great. So Gamsley, I'm going to jump to you because I know we've got limited time. So we'll try to get your takes until you get pulled away. What were your thoughts on this one? For me, I think this is a day one.
Oh no, this is definitely day one. This has that like Death Note feel. I love that. I love the story of the painter and all. I love that the expedition are just a bunch of people trying to stop this person so that whole freaking age group doesn't die. I love the premise of it. I'm a huge Death Note fan, so it gave me a lot of that vibe. For those who don't know, it's an anime. Also, the Sea of Stars kind of like real-time bouncing back and forth with like making your hits perfect and all of that stuff, I think is a brilliant move, and how turn-based should have got evolved and not into that real-time BS that Final Fantasy is doing right now. I know I just upset so many people. This is how Final Fantasy should have evolved, right? I think it's beautiful. I think turn-based is a genre that needs to stay. I love it. And this is a great way to snag some of the people that, are iffy on that. Look how beautiful it looks. My God, look at this. It's just so sick. Yeah. The movement, it's a little busy. It reminds me, of Persona. Persona is very busy on screen too, but it has that style that just blends with everything so nicely. It just gives you something beautiful to look at all times, so it doesn't really get too annoying and in your face. Everything about this game just jumps off the page for me, and being on Game Pass is a gigantic win for Xbox. And I didn't even mind Square not even showing up because of stuff like this. You know what I mean? They did show up. They got Life is Strange, but you know what I mean. Great stuff.
Yeah, look. Absolutely. And again, like I said, this is not my type of game. So for me to be super interested in this one on day one, that's a big move for the studio. So Umbra, I know this is your type of game. This is the sort of thing that you get into. So what were your thoughts on Expedition 33?
Oh man, I was blown away. It was one of my games of the show. I had a list. Boom asked us to give a list of top 3, and this show made it pretty much impossible to do that. So I kind of put it in top 4. So it was like 1B, 2, But no, this was excellent, man. I was a nice surprise. We heard nothing about this beforehand. Much like Gears, we heard nothing beforehand. It just, specifically that Gears at least. So it was just a real nice surprise. It was beautiful. It kind of gave off the Lost Odyssey vibes, when we were watching it. I know many people were kind of like, "Oh, is this Lost Odyssey?" Shout out to Aussie Funds in the chat. I see you, Garuda. But yeah, man, I was blown away by this. I love the whole premise behind it. It's this kind of painterly, artsy world that they're supposed to be in, and the enemy is there right there is the paintress, and they have to fight against their number now because as them being Expedition 33, and they're about to be erased. So I like the premise behind it. I love they call it reactive style. So you get a chance to, in real time, which I like a lot, dodge, parry, or counter. You know what I mean? And you get to change your combos and stuff like that. I think it's a really cool idea to kind of try to mesh turn-based stylings into that. So I like that a lot. I'm not even the biggest turn-based fan, but I do love a really good turn-based game. So for instance, right now I'm playing Octopath Traveler 2. Love it. Love the first game.
Oh man,
So
I'm so happy for you. I'm so happy.
Thank you. And you know, I put in hundreds of hours in the first game. I'm likely going to do the same for the second. So these types of games are not really my thing to just say like, oh, let me just play a turn-based game. But I do love and appreciate a really well-made game that can transcend the genre even I'm not even the biggest fan of. And this looks like it's going to do just that. So yeah, extremely excited. You know, one thing I found out, I didn't know it was going to Game Pass at first. And I guess in the hysteria of the showcase, I kind of missed that. And then a buddy of mine had said it on Twitter. He was like, no, I was saying like, oh, I wish Microsoft would have got some exclusivity or got it to Game Pass. And he's like, oh, well, what do you know? And he posted an image of it going to Game Pass. I was like, oh, Microsoft did it all. So I couldn't be happier. I think they hit it more than a home run. They hit a grand slam with this showcase, and this was one of the reasons why.
Yeah, this is definitely one of the big ones, I think, especially sort of into that genre, right? Because it's not a traditional thing, that it's not what Xbox is known for. So, and getting something this big, this beautiful, this different as well, and sort of concept is I think huge for Xbox. And then to add it to Game Pass as well, like you said, is just phenomenal. Like the whole showcase, as you also said. Holly, what are your thoughts on this? I don't know if this is your type of style normally, not mine. But what do you think? About this? Day one for you, or you'll just wait and see?
No, I very much like turn-based games. The art style in this is finally one that I want to play, because that's usually the problem is I don't care for Japanese games very much. So, you know what I mean? Like they always have the cool movement, but I don't want to play the game. So, this kind of brings that in a place where I want to play it. There's a lot of that one boss that's really, really tall with like a cup looking head. It looked really cool. And I ran into
Souls-like-ish. Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit. They have a lot of the Sony style cinematics with the over the shoulder. They do it during the trailer, right? With these massive worlds in front of the character as they're walking, and it just makes it really, really pretty. I ran into one of the execs after the show at the Xbox event, and they were kind of asking, you know, so what did you think? Which were the highlights for you? And they were like, how about Expedition 33? That one I'm like really, really excited for. So it shows it's got a lot of traction there too. I think they're pretty stoked for it. And it just came out of the blue. So it's pretty nice.
Right?
Yeah, looks great.
Yeah, it's good. It's good to have some of these surprise IPs that you wouldn't expect, you know, like that's something just a bit different. Donte, so are you a big turn-based fan? I think Kayasante coined a new phrase. This is an FRPG because it's French. So are you super keen for this one? Regardless of whether you do or don't like it, this one's frankly just a big win, I think, for Xbox.
Yeah, I think this is Xbox did a good thing of like when you're going to give variety and you need something to kind of appeal to different audiences. If you're in the game that you show that happens to be different from like you know, like a standard FPS game or whatnot. So you show this and it looks completely amazing. It looks completely stunning, right? In terms of turn-based, like for me, my experience would be kind of Final Fantasy games. That's probably like my most for turn-based games. But I really, really enjoyed like kind of like the old style from like 7 and 10 and 12 for in terms of turn-based games. And so seeing this was kind of like, okay, like I didn't quite know how the combat was going to be until I got to it. But then when I saw it, I'm like, okay, cool. You're like, someone's finally doing it, and they're doing it with a game that looks absolutely amazing. So that's dope that a turn-based game ends up being like a stunner, where I think everybody probably had it in its top 5 of the games that they saw for the show. And no, I didn't expect it. I saw no hints of this game whatsoever or of anything in the past about like there's this game coming out called, you know what I'm saying? So that right there is like, cool. You kept it under wraps. It wasn't spoiled by anybody coming up to the show. And then bam, when you show it, the audience is sitting up there going, wow, that looks freaking amazing. So yeah, hats off to Xbox for putting that together and then getting that into Game Pass. That's a definite win. Even if you're probably someone who doesn't like turn-based, you're probably gonna try it out, and just especially if it comes back and if it's doing well in terms of how it reviews. So I'll be playing it. That one appealed to me.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, the reactive combat, I mean, the look of it and the concept, that sort of sold me, but the reactive combat's like what really got me there, because, you know, I just don't like that make my move, make their move, unless I'm doing a TTS. I'm sort of weird like that. And I agree with you, Holly, as well. I'm not really massively into that sort of JRPG sort of genre. So for me, this is a big win to see. We'll definitely keep on moving to the next game. Before we do, please hit the like button, share us out. We go live 8 p.m. EST every Friday, 8:15. If you're in Australia, that's 11 a.m. If you are in the West Coast, Best Coast, that is 8 a.m. And guys in the chat, you guys are on absolute fire this week. Loving every single one of your comments, trying to get to them all. Shout out to everyone that made it through. And on to the next game, which for me, it was almost top of the show. Almost top of the show for me. I've been looking forward to this one. Really interested ever since they told me it was third person over the shoulder sort of combat. But I was interested to see how they were going to work those threads into it. You know, I think it's like a silk sort of they were going for a silk crochet type thing. That was a little bit like, oh, I don't know about this. But the way that the combat works, because they showed us gameplay in this one, which is the way you got to do it, right? You got to show us a cinematic. Don't come back with another cinematic. No, we want to see gameplay, and that's what they did. South of Midnight looks absolutely phenomenal. I think this might be my second overall. What I really like about this one is just the, you know, they've got that Creole, like sort of Alabama. I'm not great with all the places down south, like my geography sucks, but like it's got that Louisiana, that deep south sort of mythology, which I don't know anything about. Like, as an Australian, someone, I wouldn't have heard any of these, like, you know, these myths or legends or sort of stories coming from that sort of period and that specific region. So for me, this is super exciting, really cool. She's riding on that big fish. I think it's a catfish, riding on that massive catfish. Like, This just looks, this is old style. I love the stop work animation. I love the artwork. And from the looks of the gameplay, I'm loving the gameplay. I can't wait to get my hands on it, see how it feels. A lot of the traversal, to me, looked really cool. Looked like you could really open up that world. You could get some, you know, some highs and lows. You know, you can go up and down and get some, can't think of the word, but where you can go up different levels and down different levels. Yeah, looked up altitude. Yeah, I can't think of the word. There's a word for it, but I can't think of the word for it right now. But looks amazing. Super hyped for this one.
Verticality?
Verticality, that's the one. That is the one. I don't have a bit. Where is it?
I got you.
Anyway.
You just smashed all the buttons, huh? You just
all the buttons. Look, this is absolutely I'm super hyped for this. Can't wait to get my hands on it. I'm hoping they have it at Gamescom, because I will be there. And this is the one game I really want to get hands on with. If I can't get hands on with any other game from Xbox, this is the one that I want to see and play and just sort of feel it. It gave me the combat a little bit of God of War vibes, and I do like the combat in God of War, but there's a lot more traversal options. So yeah, I could go on about this for a long time, so I won't. I'll stop here and we'll move to the panel. But yeah, this is just a 10 out of 10 game for me. It's just beautiful. And everything just screams like banger. So Gamsley, we jump to you. What were your thoughts on South of Midnight? Again, to me, like chef's kiss. Yeah.
I love the creativity with the stop motion stuff. I think it's a really interesting idea. Compulsion, right? This is Compulsion. Compulsion has a really unique kind of outlook on different types of art styles. They're incredible with that stuff visually. They're also incredible storytellers, so I'm really ready to see their muscles flexed with this game. It seems like they have a lot to say, just like you, Riskit. I'm not connected to the lore behind all this stuff, but I'm ready to learn. That's why I play video games, you know, sometimes, is to get that education on certain things, and this is like one of the best art forms to do it. So I'm ready for this game. It kind of, now don't rip my head off, this was not as high on my list only because I kind of get this please don't do this to me, Chad, don't kill me. Kenna Bridge of Spirits, whoever played that game knows what I'm talking about here. The gameplay looks nice, it's very pretty, it's got that cool different art style, but the combat to me right now just looks serviceable. And it's not a knock on the game because I love Kenna Bridge of Spirits, but it's very like, if you look side by side to some of the stuff they're doing, they look almost the same. It kind of looks like an old game in its mechanics, right? And how it feels. For instance, when you get into that that fight, it's kind of this arena style, combat.
Yeah, they did confirm.
And
confirm that it's not just going to be arena style combat. You're going to have multiple enemies.
Right. Right. Like in waves, though, right? Yeah, but that's my.
Like as they fight, they're going to be coming at you throughout.
Yeah,
the
I
level.
get it.
Yeah.
But
So they confirm that.
It's funny you mentioned the Kena part, by the way, because I mentioned that the other day on the show.
Yeah, well, I mentioned it first on my show, all right? So calm yourself. No, but yeah, just in the way that after she beats the enemy, she kind of cleanses that area. I don't know what that's all about, but in Kenna, you do the same thing, right? You beat the rot of the enemies and you save the spirit, and then boom, like these flowers pop up, and it's very poppy and wonderful. And again, it's not a knock to the game. I just feel like, it's not that big splash that I think it's I want.
It sounds like you're saying it's not the more originality that you want. That's what it sounds like, combat wise.
It's just it looks okay. It looks great. It's just I don't think it's gonna hit big. I think it's gonna land near the, it's gonna land how Kenna landed, I think. But we'll see. I could be wrong. Yeah, I'm ready for it though. Don't kill me. I loved Kenna. I gave Kenna like 8.5, not a 7 or whatever.
Yeah, look,
just saying.
Everyone simultaneously attack
I think
gameplay.
that.
Come at me, bro.
I think Kenna Bridges, I don't think the combat's the same. Like, I know a lot of people are sort of calling back to that. And the combat was very limited, and Kenna was beautiful, but mechanically it was probably a little stunted because the focus was more on the graphics. And I get that's what you're saying. I don't feel that personally with this game. And based on what the developers are saying, I don't think it's going to be quite there. If it is, that won't be a problem for me because, as you said, I love Kenna as well. So, again, interesting. But Umbra, where are you at with it? Do you think it's going to be? You said yourself that you thought it was very Kenna-like, and you've played Kenna Bridge of Spirits, right?
Yeah, I own it on a PC. I haven't played it in a long while. I didn't finish it, but I did enjoy it. It was beautiful. Yes, the Ascended, and it was beautiful, man. And this looks beautiful too. It's in the stunning Unreal Engine 5, of course.
Man, here we go.
Hey, Donte, I'm trying to get paid. So, you got the alligator there too.
This guy's an ad.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought you were gonna say an ass. I'm like, well, both, I guess. But yeah, two-toed Tom right here, the alligator. I like the whole style.
Oh, I thought that was a shot at me. I was like, oh no.
Yeah, damn, that'd have been messed up. No, but yeah, I love the whole style of it, man. It's just obviously it's a claymation kind of stop animation style going about it, which was really cool to see. Visually, it surprised me because I didn't expect it to look this good. It really did surprise me. I expected more of an artsy style that wasn't like too pleasing, I guess, fidelity wise. But then seeing this, I'm like, is that Unreal Engine? Like immediately my eyeballs perked open, like, oh, wait a minute now. So I was taken in immediately. And then I love hearing her vernacular and hearing the catfish talk with her. You gonna get now. And she's like,
yeah.
She's like, yo, trifling. You trifling ass catfish. I'm like, oh, okay, all right. Only black people say trifling. Y'all, white folks don't really say that like that. That's unique to us. I want y'all to know that. So I like that they're being they're definitely using the vernacular of the people in the in the bayou
Did you like the music?
From what I don't remember even really hearing the music. Being honest,
I love the music.
I loved it. Yeah,
I don't remember even hearing it. I was too focused on the visuals and everything.
It's with the theme of the game,
Yeah, I didn't even pay attention to it. Honestly, I got to go back and listen to it. But
I've got it here actually. If you hang on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's in sync. I love it. But no, man, it looks really, really good. I definitely did get the Kina kind of, esque feelings when she was battling, and after she finished the evil spirit out and the turned a bed of flowers and all of that, it's very much put me in the mind of that. But I'm not the type that's like, oh, you're doing this like that game. And I don't get like that. If you're doing it and you're paying homage to a game, or you're taking a good idea from a good game, I don't care. Do it. Plenty of games do that. Every game, in fact, does that. So, like all these, there is no original ideas, they would say, right? So a lot of these things are taken from something else, as the old saying is, there's nothing new under the sun. So I have no problem with that if that's in fact the case. I like the combat. From what I can see, you see she's using these like silver daggers, which obviously silver is used in supernatural type lore anyway. So I like a lot of what I saw. I think it's going to be really dope. I don't know where it will land, but it looks really good. I think this will be one of Compulsion's best games yet, personally.
I agree.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, hands down. And something very new for them, even though it's not new like insofar as its genre or, combat or stop animation or anything really. It's really hard to do anything new. But for Compulsion, this is something very, very different. And to be honest, I wasn't overly sold on the purchase of Compulsion. And I was one of those people that was like, we'll see what they do, because I haven't really gelled with anything they'd made before. But this definitely got me going. Donte, what are your thoughts on was it Louisiana? Is that the bayou? Did I get that right? This Louisiana sort of type Creole, New Orleans sort of new take.
Yeah, so I went back and I remember when we saw the original trailer for this, and that just looked amazing, right? But obviously that was just like all a trailer, which included no gameplay. But from that, you were just kind of hoping that once we saw the gameplay, it's kind of like you've nailed this particular vibe that you're going for. So for Compulsion, we wanted to see them basically show something that says, okay, you're going to show gameplay that will support a very beautiful trailer that piqued people's interest in the game to begin with. And to me, I think they did it. I think this is one where I'm kind of with you in terms of when they were acquired. I felt like, okay, cool. Like We Happy Few was cool, but I don't think that was like a hit, right? Where everybody was kind of like, oh man, I love Compulsion games because of that one. I'm hoping, and I get the feeling that this is going to be their standout one. I said this one yesterday on the Fix, that this one seems like one that's going to it's them going to the next level and the next step, right? You have this, I'm glad that they exist, because you got this studio that can have their completely wholly original idea and doing something in a setting that's completely different from what anyone else is doing. And if you manage to do that, create a compelling character, and then also gameplay, right? If the gameplay looks good, then that's what you want, right? That's the whole reason of what to me is the appeal of Xbox and Game Pass, is like having this plethora of studios where everybody's kind of doing these different things for you to experience. So like, if you're someone who likes FPS, well, we got a ton of those. You like third person stuff, okay, we got some of those. And then you got studios like this that are just basically kind of doing wholly original ideas and managing to make it look like fun, because the gameplay I saw, the traversal, the fighting mechanics, all that stuff made me more excited for this particular game. I think everybody, seeing people who were just kind of talking about this after the fact, this one kept showing up on their top list in terms of either like the surprise, or it was ranked like in their top 2 to 3. So that's hats off to Compulsion to basically be able to capture that type of attention. And I'm hoping that they're able to land the plane and that they got a hit on their hands.
Yeah. Hopefully it does deliver and it feels the way it looks. Holly, where are you at with South of Midnight? Again, something very different from Compulsion, very different than what we've seen from Xbox, even, to be honest. So, are you super hyped for this one? I'm
probably actually a little bit lower on it than Gamesley is, but so I can take the heat for him. It's fine. It's
Yes, good.
I really loved the original teaser trailer. I thought it was really, really cool. Now that we see this, I'm a little less excited for it, I guess. This combat I thought was just kind of odd. She killed him extremely quickly. I have not played Kina, so I can't compare it to that to know. The movement style with the, kind of ethereal stuff, like, okay. I don't know what I expected, and I'm not saying it's going to be bad. It's probably going to be great. I do really like Compulsion because I actually really liked We Happy Few. I am the few that like We Happy Few. And so I'm not like down on it. I just am not sure how much I personally am going to love it. The other thing about it, I like stop animation, but I felt like maybe the timing on this stop animation was just a little off for me. It's a little jarring, more than, a lot of it, but that could just be because it's a trailer, the rendering, it's early, all of that stuff could totally be not an issue when the game comes out. But we'll see. We'll see.
You're right. You're fired. No, you go.
Boo!
Boo this woman.
Boo, Holly. Boo.
Shout out to Idle
yeah, look
Floss.
at-
What's up, brother?
Yeah, shout out to Idle, man. I missed Idle. I missed everyone at the game show this year because I just couldn't make it. So it sucked. It sucked seeing everyone there. Like, it really, really did. But I'm glad that everyone had a really, really great time. Definitely next year I'll be there. And Idle, as I said in the chat,
And
like,
COVID.
dude, come to Gamescom. And we'll have a few beers there. It'll be a great time. It was always a great time. Me and Al had a wicked time. Gamsley, come to the part of the show where you have to get out of here. So because
Yes,
you're
sir.
pretty flat out, you've got life to live. So let the people know where they can find you, what you'll be up to. I'll make sure I add your links down in the description below after the show. I haven't got them in there yet, but let people know where they can find you, what you're up to, and your week coming.
Yeah, I'm not gonna actually pimp my stuff out here. It was a pleasure to come on again. I'm just gonna end with my thoughts. I'm just gonna give my top 3 of the show, and then I'll bounce out and let you guys talk. My top 3: Fable, Gears, and I was fighting with myself with Expedition 33. I'm gonna go Fable, Gears, and Expedition 33, and right next to that is Avowed. Those are my top 4. I mean, this showcase has so much more than that. I mean, there's so much coming for Xbox. So thanks for having me on, guys. Holly, nice to meet you. Donte, it's nice to talk to you. Umbra, always a pleasure. Riskit, you're the man, except for your bad takes. But, everything else is fine. Your beard is great. It's all good. Chat, I love you guys. I'll be around, all right? Check out my Twitter, Gamsley TKD, for any announcements and stuff like that. And peace out, guys. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Gamsley, brother.
Catch you,
That's
man.
cool.
Thanks for coming through. So moving on, before we do, please hit the like button, share us out. We go live every single Friday, 8 p.m. EST, around that time if I'm not having technical difficulties. If you're in Australia, that's 11 a.m. in the on the East Coast. And if you're on the West Coast, Best Coast, that's 8 a.m. Hit subscribe so you know when we go live, and hit that bell because it'll let you know most of the time. We're going to have to skip
Stephen
over a few of these
Avery,
games
we
as well.
see you.
Stephen
Umbra, you drive a
Avery.
Chrysler 300 now.
Oh, he's back. Hey, I love the Chrysler 300. Hey, Steve,
He probably won't say anything else too. That'll be it.
Dude,
And then he
bye.
just disappears.
Bye.
Steve,
Comes
you're
in,
a
drops a
legend.
line. Don't know if it's an insult
You're
or
right.
if it's or anything. It's like, take it how you want. I'm gone.
when the world needed him most, he disappeared.
He's great, man.
Oh,
He's
perfect.
great.
Yeah, we're gonna skip over a few of these games just because one, they're third parties. There's one that I really want to get though because we've there has been a demo for it, so we're just gonna skip over Metal Gear. Look great, beautiful. World of Warcraft. Look, bring it to console, then I'll care. Sea of Thieves.
Not gonna happen.
Obviously, it's a PlayStation game, so we don't care about that anymore. No, kidding. I'm kidding. We love Sea of Thieves. Sea of Thieves is amazing. Flintlock, Siege at Dawn. And I'm going to just quickly jump out and grab myself a quick drink while you guys talk about this, because I know that quite a few of you have played it. And I know that Kay Asante in the chat also has played it. So it should be pretty interesting to get your takes. You guys were talking about it in our private chat. So
how about we talk about two different games just in case while you're going? So that, and because I'm not sure how many other people played it. Did you guys play that?
I have not.
Yeah, right.
Me and Garuda did, for sure.
Oh, it was Garuda. Okay, yeah, my bad. That's me and my attention. So why don't we cover that in Age of Mythology, and we'll get to Perfect Dark after that. But yeah, just quickly on this game for me. Look, it looks good. It does look a little bit stiff in the combat. I think a lot of AAAs, a lot of people loved Liza P. I found that to be a little bit stiff in the combat. And for a Souls-like, I need like that fluidity. I need it to be on point, on time. Otherwise, it sort of takes away from the experience. The story, the look of the game, absolutely amazing. I may come around, but what I'm hearing from people, Umbra as well, is the combat is a little bit wooden. Traversal's a little bit wooden. I'm hoping it's linear, because I think if they stretch too far out with a Souls game, very hard to do an open world Souls game. It's only been done once and well by obviously an Elden Ring. So yeah, look, I'm keen. I'm super keen, but I'm also a little bit reserved on this one. May not be a day one for me, but I'll definitely get to the game as soon as it comes. We saw this back in 2022, so. Crazy now that we're just sort of seeing it now for maybe a launch in 2025 or back into 2024. But Umbra, obviously you've played the game, so we're going to kick it to you and let us know what your thoughts are all around. And then guys, flick around the panel. I'll be right back. I just got to grab that drink and I'll be back here in time, hopefully, for Age of Mythology.
Drinking on the job. Ain't that something? Only in Australia. No, yeah, I played it. I played a good 2, maybe 3 hours of this. It was okay. Visually, it looks really good. Just as a heads up, I played it on. If you all didn't know in the chat, they have it on Steam right now.
Your computer, your superior computer.
Yes. I didn't want to say it, but since you mentioned it,
I'm gonna say it for you.
Yes. Thank you. I appreciate that. It was on my superior 4080 Super. It was magnificent on that. Magnificent device. However, no, it looks really good. It also has photo mode, which I appreciate. Photo mode. Yeah.
Holly,
the combat and movement is a bit wooden, or I called it floaty. I think is a better way to describe it. General movement around is kind of whatever. Yes, Gray Monad, I see you. Yes, I hope it burns your soul. No, but the general combat is, I wouldn't call this a Souls-like, and I think Souls-like gets put off on things too often, and it's typically because it has the aesthetics of a Souls game, right? Where you see the little white dot inside the middle of somebody that you're aiming at, whatever, and you get to roll and parry an attack. So it does have those similarities. But outside of that, it is not really a Souls type game. I do like the little riff jump thing that she does with the little fox demigod thing. That's pretty cool. It's kind of limited. I think the game is fairly linear. I don't think that it really goes out of its way to be too open. It gives the illusion of openness, but when you really get down to it, it's kind of this curated path of where you have to go in one direction or another. There are like little side mission things you can do, although I don't think it's really extensive. And you do get to build her up as far as changing her outfits or armor or upgrading her weapons and things like that. So I like that aspect of it. Kay kind of touched on it in the chat. It's not a AAA game, so I think because of the visuals looking so good, people kind of have it in the head. Oh, AAA. Yeah. So I think if you put that out of your head, you'll be like, okay, it is what it is. It's a AA game, and that's. I think if you go into it with that mindset, you'll appreciate this game much more. So don't look at this. Don't look at Flintlock like it's a AAA game that didn't live up to its standards. It's a AA game that just happens to look really damn good. But I will say this too. I think that on an upgrade path of abilities that you get in this game, because it does have that too, RPG-esque elements where you build up the moves and such that she can do. I think you will see more attacks and things like that of that nature that really hype you up to kind of pull you into the combat more. So it could be a basis, could be a thing of your starting move set isn't so great that it makes the combat feel a little stiff and a little whatever, right? And once you open that up with upgrades, it might become that much more better. I think that's probably what it is. And you can kind of see it in the combat in the trailers when they highlight the best parts, usually with her doing like a finishing move on somebody or a flourish or something like that, or the gun she has, I forget what they call it, the Flintlock, literally. You get to upgrade that and you will see her like charging it and shooting it. So they have all those types of elements of it too. So I think it's a clash of you happening to play it where she's not upgraded yet, and you're like, okay, where's the good stuff, basically. What I will say too, I don't like how she runs. Is very slow. I would, if I could, I don't know if you could get to upgrade that at another point in the game, but if I had any say to them, I would say increase her speed when she runs. It makes her feel overly slow. But other than that, I think you all will love the game. I think, or enjoy it enough, I would say. Give it a try when it hits Game Pass. I don't know if you guys had any thoughts on it, but we can move to Age of Mythology. So, Age of Mythology, what did you guys think about that?
Yeah, was Holly with us?
And
I'm here.
Okay.
Yeah, Holly, did you want to riff on Flintlock? Is Flintlock probably something that you'd be keen to jump into day one?
The first time I saw it in 22, I was like, meh. And then the second time I saw it last year, I was like, oh, okay. And then this year, I'm kind of back to, It's interesting, and just to your point, Umbra, about AA's and having that expectation, I would argue that Remnant 2 was a AA, and it was fantastic. It was so good. And Donte and I suffered through that quite a bit together. So there is a world where, AA's can look and function, but again, you are 100% right. Like, get your expectations in mind for the budget and the ability, like the access to tech and all that stuff, right? That a AA would have. But I'm gonna try it. It's got a good release window. I think it's July 18th. So, it's like a month and a half before all of the big bangers start coming out. Sometimes you're pleasantly surprised, right? By things that you're kind of like, oh, we'll see. And then it winds up being fantastic.
Yeah, my little bit to say about it.
AJH, I'll just say, look, Remnant 2 is a AA, just a really studio good size. Yeah. Donte?
For this, it looks dope. I like what I saw at the trailer. It made me interested in wanting to play it. I'm kind of a little sad to hear if the movement is kind of slow in terms of how she runs, but if as you continue to like get stronger and get like abilities, if it makes it a little bit more where the movement and the action kind of makes up for that, then that'll be cool. But it didn't do anything to kind of deter me away from it. And if it's coming to Game Pass, then again, it doesn't hurt to download it and try it, right? So hopefully it ends up being like a little sleeper where they got something on their hands. But I was interested from when I saw it in the trailer. I thought it looked pretty dope.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I like the concept of having the like a god running around, and she's she's obviously going after all the gods to try to kill them off. So like I thought that was a really cool concept. Be interested to see what like the flurry movements you mentioned there, Umbra. Like what are the combos like? Like how does that all work together? Like that to me is should be interesting. If that's fluid, I'll probably have less of a
an issue with it. But if you've got floaty combat where, sorry that I'm looking away, I've got heaps of things running around in the background. But like if the combat is fluid, I think I'll be cool with that. Yeah, I agree with you on the slow movement. It's always been a sort of a bothersome thing for me when, if a game has that slow movement, it sort of takes away a little bit from the experience. So hopefully that's not too bad. You can upgrade it. But yeah, absolutely. I think this will be one that I check out day one. But I mean, again, this is the other thing as well. When you think about, what we saw at the show, what's coming in the back end of 2024, to the amount of games that's going to be there, it's really sort of hard to pick day ones. Am I going to have time to play this with everything that's coming out? Grey Monad in the chat there, he's got a list of games with just first parties and third parties that are coming out in the back end of 2024, and we're up to around about 26, I think it was. So that's a lot of games to be playing in the back end of 2024. I may need to quit my job and get a divorce. We'll move on to the next game, but before we do, Spartan661 with the $4.99 super chat, really appreciate you, longtime supporter of the channel, said the main thing is to understand is if you are dumb, you better be tough to get through life. An educated person can't do other things that PS fans can't. I think he means educated person can do other things that PS fans can't, and absolutely true. I've never met an educated PS fan. Just kidding. We love our PS fans over here. And Soil Tech with the $1.99 super chat. He said, hit the like button. I was kidding about liking PS fans. Moving on to the next game, just real quickly, is Age of Mythology. This, I think, is a re-zhuzh or a remake, or a remaster of the original Age of Mythology. From I watched the Unlock podcast. And I think it was Miranda who was saying like it's sort of a light RTS, and the control scheme is really well done. So that's obviously important. I do like to play my RTSs with mouse and keyboard, so I'm hoping that's an option. But this looks really cool. I'd be definitely 110% down for this. Yeah, it looks amazing. And just again, sort of the breadth and depth of the showcase. You've got your RTSs, your FPSs, your third person over the shoulder, melee combat games. Like there's something in this showcase for absolutely everyone. Holly, jumping to you, is this something that you think you would love to jump into?
Yeah, this is right up my alley. I'm excited for this. The good problem to have is that this is, I believe this one is September. I don't know. It's either the beginning of September or the end of September, and Aura is like the opposite end of September, and they're both, in that genre. So we're getting two of these games that both look excellent, pretty close to each other. But I like the twist on this. It's a little bit different, right, with the gods and how they kind of play a twist in your RTS building. So this is definitely, thank you, Umbra, September 4th. This is definitely going to be one of them that I get into, and how I do that with Stalker coming out the day later and also Astrobot, I don't know. But I'll do it.
Yeah, it's absolutely loaded, man. It's going to be my backlog's going to fill up, which is crazy. Donte, is this up your alley, the RTS? Is it a thing that you get into?
So RTS is probably not my cup of tea, but if I was, this would be something that I'd be interested in because what they showed looked dope. It's just not my type of game, and that's fine. I think it's still good for for Microsoft in terms of showing kind of the breadth of different things that they have available for Game Pass subscribers and just at the platform period, right? There's a little bit of something for everybody. So I thought it looked dope. It's just that I'm not an RTS guy, so probably it's not what that's probably going to appeal to me. But having Game Pass, I'd have the ability to. This one is in Game Pass, right? Or am I tripping?
It is. It is.
Okay. Yeah. So I'd have the ability to try it and see if maybe it's something that I would be interested in. I'm curious how that plays on console, because my experience is from probably over a decade ago on computer, and that's probably why I have limited exposure to it. But I'll try it out.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing to note, as long as the control scheme's like in the actual game, you can plug in that keyboard and that mouse. If you are just a console purist like myself, you can still use mouse and keyboard for these types of games. And I encourage you to sell your PC and get an Xbox. Speaking of PCMRs, Umbra, what are your thoughts on this one? Are you going to be playing this one day one on the PC, or is this going to be on the Xbox? Are you even an Xbox guy anymore? I don't know.
So you want us to move backwards, is what you're saying. So we could get the PC and sell that to go back to an inferior.
Oh, you hear the slander? That's the
what
slander for
is
Xbox.
Umbra? You hurt me, brother. You hurt me, brother.
I'm just telling the truth.
Ew. What
Brother,
is that, brother? Brother.
You know, I am still an Xbox guy. If there wasn't, I guess if I wasn't before, that showcase definitely brought me back, right? But and by the way, I was playing Octopath Traveler 2. I'm playing it on Xbox, by the way. So yeah, this is not really my style. Much like Donte, it's not really my type of game. I don't really care for RTSs. I haven't really given them the chance either, to be fair. So it's kind of damned if they do, damned if they don't. In my case, it does look fun. It does look interesting. They have modernized it in Ensemble, so they've it's an old game, obviously, but it's retold, as they're saying. So it's a remake of it, and they've modernized the controls and things like that. So it's probably really, really fun. And I'm sure for those who really care for RTSs, this is probably like, this is like their I guess seeing Doom or something. Dark Ages for us. So I'm happy for those who do care for these types of games and will enjoy them. It's just not really my cup of tea. But it looks fun.
Mm-hmm.
I do like seeing Thor run around and everything like that in Zeus. So it was pretty funny. But yeah.
Do you guys drink tea? Is tea a thing over there?
It is.
We drink
that
it.
Boston tea thing, right? Where you're like,
No.
get the car over there, park the car, get the tea.
Get in the car.
And
Tea, tea is a global thing, though, right, Riskit?
Yes.
no, I thought it was.
It's
I
a
don't
global
think
thing.
Americans.
Just like even coffee now is kind of a global thing. You know that, right?
We have an infamous thing here of the Boston Tea Party.
Coffee is not a global thing. You guys
It
just do not
kinda
know how to
is.
do coffee. Like you got black coffee dripping out of a piece of paper, and it just it's like mud. It's like drinking the grinds in the. I don't
We have
know
a
what.
coffee connoisseur here in ThatBlueNumber. I think you're mistaken,
Yeah.
brother.
What trash
Yeah.
are you talking?
Yeah, we're not gonna take the slander.
I mean, if you
We're not gonna take
you
the
start
slander.
talking Starbucks, this Starbucks.
No, that's trash.
No, we're talking
horrible.
about coffee, brother. Actual coffee.
All right. Well, we're gonna have to next showcase. We're gonna have to have a coffee off, right? Because I'll bring some real coffee from Australia. I'll freeze it down or something. I don't know what I'll do, but we'll do something.
Right.
We're gonna have a coffee off.
Next year's showcase, bring it with you.
Before we jump into the next one, please hit the like button, share us out. We go live 8 p.m. EST every Friday. If you're in Australia, that's 11 a.m. on the East Coast, and West Coast, best coast is 8 a.m. where I live. This one, honest to God, I was just and look, there's a bit of a backstory behind this. This is apparently supposed to be the first quadruple A game. There was all that sort of noise going on as well. There was, just rumors of troubled development, Crystal Dynamics having to step in to save the game, and just to see how this game is looking, especially with those fruit physics. I don't know if you guys caught that, but absolutely amazing fruit physics. Way better than Halo.
Yeah. We won't have,
I
we
love
won't
that.
have
There was a
King
little-
Crash whining about the fruit physics on this one. Yeah.
Exactly right. I love how they threw that in there just for a laugh. Like there was no need for it. I love that they did. But this looks amazing. It gives me very Deus Ex vibes. You got your Mirror's Edge type parkour traversal. The world looks like the art style is amazing. The story is very intriguing. The fact that it's near future is going to be awesome. Look, this for me just shut down all of the vitriol about this game, all of the concern about this game. I'm happy to wait. I don't think we got a coming 2025 at the back end of it. I can't remember. But I think this one personally, I'd be quite happy to see it in 2026. Could be 2025. But look, honestly, 2025 is looking stacked. Back end 2024 is looking stacked. 2026 would be fine for me. But the combat looked great. The gadgets look great. The world looked great. The story seems very intriguing.
So for me, I'm 110% sold. This is a day one for me, no matter what's going on. I'm playing this one. Where are you at with it, Umbra? Is this up your alley? Deus Ex vibes, the Mirror's Edge vibes, just, phenomenal showing of this Perfect Dark.
Yeah, man, it looks solid. Like you said, it quieted a lot of those concerns, and that's the most important part. Same thing with State of Decay 3. Seeing those two, I think, not only elevated the show because of how good they came off, but it kind of reestablished, I think, faith that people had broken from, these games. They were like, I don't think this is going to happen. But, it came off pretty well. I think that they're still, because we've heard rumors that it's been largely finished for a while. So they're probably going through extra polish for this to really get it up to that quadruple A standard. And by the way, that was just a misnomer because it was a mistake when it was printed as a quadruple A. Just so people who are still wondering about that.
It was from a HR. So the HR department were hiring, and it came up on.
Are you saying
one of the hires?
Are you saying HR instead of HR?
That's H. H.
Yeah,
as in ha.
I hate the way you're saying it.
Yeah, it's not H. It doesn't start with A, right? It starts with ha.
Oh Lord.
H, right?
No one says that, bro.
Umbra, you've been picking on people all night for the way they've been saying stuff.
I'm sorry.
And how do you say similar? How do you say similar?
You say each.
Yeah.
Dead. All right, sorry.
Oh, we got the grammar police, Holly here.
Oh, you started it, bro. I let the first one slide.
Listen, he is saying H, like Steve Harvey says it. That's how he's saying it. What?
That's how you say it.
Well,
how do you say H, Holly?
You say H, but
yeah.
Is it H?
But that's when you're at H.
We need a poll. Chad, is it H or H?
Look, if you hate something, you don't hate it. Like I ate that. You hate it, so that's H.
No, we want to.
Yeah, it's hate.
It's hate. I don't hate you.
You don't say Oli. You say Holly.
He probably does say holy.
Ali.
Holy.
Aioli.
Yeah.
Oh, Aioli.
Holy.
So anyway, where are you at? Where are you at with Perfect Dark?
Yeah, man.
Perfecto Darko.
Perfecto Darko. It looks really good. Like I said, I think it's more polish to be done because to me, it seems like one of those early, it almost has that kind of, how do I put this? I don't want to say alpha build, but it looks like there is still some type of ways for it to go. At first, when I first watched it, I thought maybe they need to get the shades and shadows right as far as the darker corners of everything. But I think it's because I was watching it on the OLED, so it came off probably looking a little different in certain parts. But when I watched it back, it was okay. It was fine. So no, I think it looks really good. It's like you said, it has the parkour running of Mirror's Edge. It has some Deus Ex kind of little semi-open world little build like situation going on here in this futuristic version of Cairo. And so you can see that and how the elements of that is going to break down as far as her doing her missions. I like a lot of that. It looks really, really good. You can see the abilities even with what she has on the far right top of the hood and even the bottom left. And you get to see that she has these different modes that she can switch her device to that allows for whatever, like the stun gun thing she's going to use here and things of that nature. So I like a lot of that. I want to figure out how does the combat or the QC, I guess the close quarters combat, how does that play? For instance, when she shoots the guy there and jumps off and kicks him there and smashes him, or when she does this here and she slides, kicks that guy, or she takes the other guy down and, does that kind of Splinter Cell-esque, multi takedown thing like she does right here. I want to know how all of that plays out and how that works. So it does look really good in that essence. I think they have more polish to do with it, but I think they gave us a good proof of concept so that we know that this thing is real. That was the most important part because again, it had such controversy around it with people leaving the studios and them getting Crystal Dynamics to jump in to help them get it right. So a lot of people had doubt for this, but I think it came off looking really, really good. And overall, I think it landed really well with the community. There was a point where I saw her take off the helmet and it showed her jawline. Immediately, I said to the boys when we were watching, I said, watch the incel types jump on that immediately. Oh, she's old jaws, your man.
Yeah, there they go.
And they did it immediately. So I was disappointed by that, but it was expected. I expected it. But other than that, I think
they're gonna stop. They're gonna stop that shit. They really do. It's getting old and tired. Like this woman looks exactly like she looks in real life. And again, they had they brought up the whole Fable thing, which we'll get into very, very soon, where they they said that they beautified her for this showing. She doesn't look any different. You can actually go up and 1-for-1. It's just the lighting and the saturation that gives and the shadowing. And if you have anything to do with any kind of art you could spot it a mile away. So it surprises me, these idiots on the PlayStation side that make thumbnails that thought that was some sort of beautification. Holly, speaking of beautification, this game, what did you think? Do you think it's a little bit underbaked currently, like Umbra, or do you think it's ready to go? We're going to get it in 2020. Where are you at with it?
I was so excited to see this there. I know there'd been rumors about it, but I didn't actually think we were ever actually going to see it. It just, it's just been such a mystery, and there was so much drama around. Like even Phil said, in the interview later, right? Like, yeah, we probably learned that trying to build a game and a studio at the same time was probably not the best idea. So I can only imagine the development issues that could come with something like that. And the extra time, that it wound up taking to get through things that were done, not done. There was a lot of people that left during, the uprising or the creating of this studio. So it must have been through the ringer. But what we saw is really cool. And I've never played the original game. So I'm really excited to try this out because people speak very highly of them. And I love stealth games. So I'm happy to see a stealth game come, especially because I don't know when I'm going to get another Dishonored. I like the tech of this. The thing that really got me with it, or like made me pay a lot of attention was I always look at the gunplay in a game because I feel like it could kind of tell a lot. And the way the bullets had a lot of beef and a lot of weight behind them, as like the pistol felt like it had a lot of oomph. And pistols, are usually the throwaway gun in most games, but it really seemed to have a lot of impact, and that was exciting to me because it gives me a lot of hope for all of the other stuff that's coming with the combat. So, and then the twist, like you're seeing now with like almost like that alien-esque thing that's happening at the end. And I'm like, well, I have no idea what's going on. And that's even more exciting, right? It's not just pure espionage. It's like sci-fi espionage or something like that.
Sort
I have no idea.
Total Recall. Right?
Yes.
Total Recall type stuff.
Man, I would kill for a Total Recall game that was actually good. And whoever these idiots are that are talking about her and her looks and just women's looks in video games in general, you're being a grums. Nobody wants to be a grums. Stop being a grums. Okay?
Yeah, grums. Grums is a knob, as we like to say in Australia.
I know what that one means.
Knob?
Yeah.
Yeah, look it up.
Unlike
You'll
doodle.
see lots of pictures. Like doodle, yeah. Doodle means
we hate grums, right, Risk? We hate him.
We hate. But we don't hate him. We just think he's a knob. But doodle in Australia means I don't know. I hate saying this word, but penis. It means a dick. It's a phallus. It's a male
like you hate
genitalia.
Yeah.
That's I said it too much, right? I went too far. That's what's the needle shifted. Donte, where are you at with doodles? Where are you at with Perfect Dark? Fantastic looking game. Again, it's given me that Deus Ex sort of feel. And I like that they're sort of leaning into that. I know someone said that they're not keen on the parkour from Mirror's Edge because it made them sort of motion sick. Maybe you can tone it down. And I can understand that. I've never been motion sick from games. It's never happened. So, you know, that would be regrettable. I would hate that. But Yudani Quasada in the chat. But yeah, this looks absolutely fantastic to me. So, Donte, how you feeling it?
So this game was the trailer we saw initially was 3 years ago, I believe, and it was just pretty much obviously a sizzle reel, which I was kind of curious because I was like, oh, how's the world going to look? Is it just like this is what we drafted up for the trailer, or is it going to translate to the game? And going back and looking at it, it actually looks pretty close in terms of like what they showed, and the environment looks pretty close to what we are actually seeing in the game. I thought it looked dope. It was kind of like you know, stealth aspects along with the parkour movement of like, it kind of reminded me of like Dying Light. That's the one that at least kind of stood out to me in terms of the like the wall running and jumping and all that stuff. Kind of with Holly 2, the gunplay looked really, really good. I'm curious as to like how the like when you're actually fighting, the combat and mechanics work, because like there's parts where, you know, you're seeing like different takedowns and stuff like that happening. So I'm kind of curious as to like how that's all going to work out. So we'll obviously, as they get closer, we'll see more in terms of hopefully gives like a good 5 or 10 minute reel of an actual scenario where you can just see it happening. But this is what they needed to do.
If you watch that, just to sorry to jump in, if you watch that section, it seems like it's a parry maneuver. She grabs him, brings him to ground, but holds him there, then shoots one guy, shoots the other guy, and then looks down. He's still being held there. Yeah, like very interesting to see how that all works.
Yeah, and I'm curious, like, is that going to be like, is that a thing that just plays out on its own, or is that like you're pressing and controlling that action, right? And that's what I'm curious about, because that would be kind of dope if you are, you know, holding someone and still being able to take down other enemies and shoot them. That'd be pretty dope. But yeah, they needed to do this one because for everything that we've heard up into this in terms of like leaks, we're talking about development hell, right? So for them to go ahead and finally show it, and then it looks like a dope, fun, stunning game, that's exactly how you kind of shut down that narrative of everybody who was kind of saying that like this thing was basically, you know, they made it seem like it was a complete hell. Maybe it was, and maybe they've corrected the ship, but it looks like to me that they're on the right path. And it had kind of like a mystery element that I'm curious about too at the very end of it, where it makes it seem like it's a little bit more than just a standard kind of espionage shooter, you know, type of game. So yeah, I'm all about this one. I can't wait to see how this game's going to play out. This is another one of those embarrassment of riches where it's like finally we're seeing the games and the fruits of their labors for the studios that they've created and the ones that they've acquired. And that's exactly what we want to see as fans and people who are subscribed to the Game Pass service.
Yeah, absolutely. And it really did dispel. I mean, regardless of sort of where you're at, whether you like that sort of gameplay or, you know, your thoughts on the game as a whole, when it comes to the discourse that's been around this game, it's been heavily negative. People were concerned. I think myself, I was concerned. We've all expressed concern about it in the past, but I think that sort of puts that to bed. I guess one thing to note as well when it comes to games like, you know, big AAA budgets, there's always going to be a development hell, right? You know, God of War's, both games were in development hell, came out, you know, great. So, you know, that's always something to keep in mind as well whenever you hear about a game being in development hell. But obviously the conversation around this was much more than just being in development hell. There was a lot more to it. So obviously the next game, big one, I've got some thoughts on this one. Most definitely it's my most anticipated, most awaited Fable. I did think we were going to see it, so I'm glad I called that. Look, so I think this looks absolutely amazing. Graphically looks amazing. Combat looks pretty cool. I'd still like to see a little bit more of what's sort of going on in that combat. Like I just would like to see it tailed together instead of just you know, quick snippets of. So there's that. And again, I'm probably going to get a little critical or have some concern here because this is my most long-awaited game. Like, and I loved the Fable series. I was someone who played through 1, 2, and 3. Then I played the beta of that crappy co-op one that they had as well. I was that into Fable, played them all. I was devastated when Lionhead shut down. So when this came, super hyped, right? With the last Fable trailer, super hyped. This one, it looks great. Don't get me wrong. A few things I'm concerned about. The first Fables were heavily focused on the decisions that you made. They had an effect on you physically. So if you were evil, you grew horns, right? And you started to like glow red, and then the world would react to you differently. If you were good, you grow a halo, you get wings. If you sat somewhere in the middle, maybe you wouldn't get like sort of a huge physical reaction, but you would get you leaning by the end of the game, right? So that's one of the concerns. Look, if the world reacts to you, heavily in such a way as like the game's not playable the same way twice. So you make decisions and you end up here because you made those decisions. Cool. I could get down with that. I would like to see a physical effect. That was one of the really cool things about the original Fable. What was cool to see here was, again, some of the combat, knowing that we've got ranged combat. You could play, as a ranger, not as a ranger, but you could play as a ranger in the first one. You had your sword combat in the first one as well. You could get heavily into magic. As well, I'd be interested to see is it like the last Fable where the more you do, the better you get, right? It was one of the first games that brought this, decision-based leveling into the game. So I'm really interested to see that sort of stuff. And the next time we see it, what I want to see from it is a deep dive into the gameplay systems, how it's all going to work. Again, I'm super hyped for it. It looks amazing. I just need more information now. This trailer to me was what I expected. But what I'm expecting from it next time is I want to see what's happening with mechanics. What kind of magic is it? How is it going to be linear? Because the first one was you would traverse through like a wild area onto other towns, and they would be semi-linear, right? They're open. There were different pathways, but due to the limitations, you just had that sort of linear thing going on. And I would prefer that personally because I think you can spend more time on it, but apparently this one's open world. So look, I've got a lot to say about this. I feel like I've said enough. I'm super hyped for it. It looks fantastic. They've got some fantastic actors in this, which is unbelievable. Graphically amazing. I just want to see some mechanics. Like what's happening there. So that's my main thing. Donte, I'm going to kick straight back to you. What were your thoughts on Fable overall as a whole? Like, what are your concerns? What are you looking forward to? Do you think they've nailed this?
This was my game of the show. So this was like the one that was tops for me, which is hard to say considering there's a bunch of good stuff. Gears, like I felt, at least until the recent rumors came out that they were trying to target next year, I felt Gears was like a 2026 thing. So it was like, while it's great, I wouldn't see myself holding in my hand anytime soon. So Fable is like, okay, that's coming next year. So for me, that was my game of the show that stood out. It looks amazing. I feel if Playground nails this, that it basically will just kind of solidify them as one of the top developers in the game. It's just them showing like just another level to their brilliance and their execution, because everything they make, it just looks phenomenal. And if they're able to pull off this, which is outside of the racing genre, into third person action RPG, then that would be just kind of, for me, solidifying them as one of the top dogs. I thought they nailed the tone of it. Again, another cool trailer showing off really cool humor. I'm with you. I want to see some more action. I think next year, man, that this would be the one that would deserve like its own direct. So if it's going to come out like sometime next year in the fall, this would be one at their next show that they'll give its own direct, where we get a more in-depth look at it, where we can see a little bit more of the mechanics and the combat in action. Because again, with this one, they showed us some, but not a lot. It's just still more kind of teasing us, getting us introduced to the world. I'm also with you where I want to see like how your like what carries over from the original games. Like, can you marry people? How your actions impact you if you make good and bad decisions, or in terms of how it affects your physical ability, if you're creating your own character, or is it pretty much you're going to play the character that we've been seeing in the two trailers. So all those things are questions that are all lingering on our brains. But in terms of its presentation and just kind of getting me hyped, yeah, this was the game of the night for me. Word.
Is Riskit talking to hate Chang?
I'm like, oh, did we lose everybody? Riskit!
Riskit's talking to H himself.
There we go.
I was muted. Apologies. But Trevor, I just want to say to Trevor in the chat, like he's saying, didn't know a Gears of War E-Day was coming. Yeah, we knew a Gears of War was coming. We didn't know if it was going to be the collection or if it was going to be 6. Yeah, we assumed. Generally, as a collective, I think we all sort of assumed it would be the new console launch, right? So, that's what he's talking about. Obviously, he wasn't specifically nailing down to the E-Day. So you got to listen, you got to understand, you got to take it the context. Appreciate you listening in the chat. All you guys are absolutely amazing. Holly, I'm going to jump to you. Like Fable, I know this is definitely up your alley. How do you feel about it? Do you feel like I feel, where I just need to see more? To like I'm hyped already, but I just the concerns of the mechanics and how the game plays for me is what I want to know now. It's not really concern. It's more just like, tell me what's going on in there, like what's happening. Where are you at with it?
No, I mean, I'm like patiently excited for Fable. I really enjoyed Fable, the old series. I'm interested to see how they bring it back and everything. What I love is that the 2 big trailers that we've gotten from this game are always from the perspective of somebody else telling a story about the story. And I find that very interesting, very creative. I love British humor. I frankly don't care if I see anything else. I'm just like, just bring the game. It's fine. Like, I'm going to play it. It's going to be great. It's going to be funny. It looks good. I don't have any concerns. Let's just do it. But I do agree with Donte. I think it'll probably be part of a direct at some point, or a deep dive.
Yeah, I think this deserves a direct, 110%, like its own sort of deep dive just before they sort of launch. They do a deep dive and they're like, hey, it's coming in 3 months or it's coming in 2 months. Shit, it would be awesome if they said it's coming in a month, but they need to get behind the marketing in this one, 110%. But Umbra, how are you feeling about Fable? Do you think it showed out well? Do you want to see more of the game? Are you happy for him just to drop it? You want to see a direct? Where are you at? How you feeling?
I think it's the bee's knees. Listen, this was my game of the show. I said it last year. It was my game of the show. This year was game of the show again. It looks spectacular, man. You would have thought this was Unreal Engine, by the way, but it's not. It is amazing how well a game can look in an engine. I would have never guessed it could do this. This is the Forza Tech engine. How is this possible that it looks this damn good? Every time I see it, I'm blown away, because you see clear gameplay moments where she's walking through the town or walking toward that frog or doing combat moments. And it's like, damn, this looks good. Her running right there. It looks fantastic. I'm blown away. This was my #1 game of the show. I didn't think it would be there, but I'm glad it was. You can see they've improved visuals too, which is hard to believe because it looked insane before. But they've improved like the lighting and everything else. And her face, I think they've kind of adjusted it a bit. I think that you can see
I don't think so.
Yeah, they definitely did. She had more of a scrunched up. She was more scrunched a little bit. They kind of gave her more of a. I think they elongated her face a bit, in my opinion. I think also the lighting. I think the lighting.
That's what I'm going to say. Like,
better.
I think they lit it differently and they saturated her face differently. Like, they've taken a lot of the color out of her face, which takes out a lot of the shadows. I don't think they've really changed the shape or like composition of her face per se, but just the lighting and the shadows. I think that's.
I think it's the lighting. You can see the freckles more from the actress who they modeled her off of, so you can see that better. You can see the freckles. You can. I think before, to me, her jaw was more like, how somebody is missing teeth. So like an older person might be missing teeth and their jaw kind of sinks in. That's what it kind of looked like. Though, to be fair, she was making faces in the previous trailer. But I think it came off much better here presentation wise. You can also look at her hair. It's dramatically improved in here versus go back and look at the other trailer and look at her hair here. You could see clearly that's in game, and her hair is actually done up a bit, like as far as the improvements. It just looks so much better overall. I even saw a bit of the dreaded incel types praising the improvements. That should tell you enough right there. But yeah, exactly. But no, it looks really, really damn good, man. I'm so blown away by this. But this is my thing. I came away from this thinking a few things. One, much like you, I wonder if the morality scale is still there, where we'll have good and evil actions that kind of dictate if we change up looking. Kay had made a great point on the fix where he pointed out that what if the morality thing is her looking or your person assuming that they might allow us to have a character creator or a bit of that. I'm not so sure they will, because it seems like she's in heavy rotation. So I think she's just going to be the main character, which I'm cool. I'm good with. If she is, I hope she's fully voiced and everything else like that. By the way, fully voice her, give her, give us her name, everything like that. But Kay was pointing out that maybe the morality thing might not be so much as horns and or a halo. What if it's like you becoming like more hideous looking or more attractive looking? I said, oh, she's gonna have full makeup on by the time you're doing the good actions. It's gonna be a supermodel. All right, that'll quiet the incels up right there. look at her, she's a doll now. But I like that idea. Also, too, I don't know, because they still don't have a release date for this. I'm still wondering if this is going to be this gen's game, especially with how great it looks. I'm starting to wonder if the rumor of Xbox going next gen in 2026, if maybe this is a next gen title. I'm really starting to believe that might be the case. And I wouldn't have any objections to that. I want them to take all the time they need personally, but that's what I'm starting to feel.
They did drop a 2025.
Yeah,
did they say 2025 for sure?
Next year. Yeah.
Okay.
That's why I think it'll be at a direct next year.
I'm confusing it. It was what was that game? Perfect Dark that didn't do it, right? It was a Perfect Dark that didn't list it. Yeah, that's what I confused.
Yeah, they didn't list it
for them.
Yeah, my bad. I confused them. Yeah. So, well, if it hits flat next year, I would be kind of surprised if it lands next year, because in my head I feel like they still have a ways to go. But what do I know? I don't know the inner workings of what's going on. I just hope that it comes out really, really great. To me, it looks like it can finally get, because to me, I've always felt bad where previous games in this title, or excuse me, previous games in the series, I felt like this should have been another tentpole in Xbox's library. Halo, Gears, Forza, we always talk about that, but I think Fable should have been one of them. One of them ones, as they would say. Especially you go off part 1 and 2's history, and then part 3 was kind of and then you had the one you spoke on, the online based one, multiplayer one that didn't ever land or didn't go officially live. I wanted them to take this, and we would want them to take that into and make this a tentpole of Xbox too. It should have been, in my honest opinion. So hopefully this reestablishes it and you can have it land the way it will be, So no, blown away by this. My game of the show looks magnificent. I don't know what else to say except, and we do live in a post Hellblade world, a Hellblade 2 world. I agree, Kay. Yes. So all these things are so astonishing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, yeah. If you don't, I think, after Hellblade and seeing what's possible, and then again with FSR 3 coming into the mix, with these bigger games that are, Hellblade's very linear, but these open world games, I think you got to really bring the fire when it comes to graphics. We got to shoot and scoot, try to move through to the next. We got some big ones coming through, but this one I just wanted to quickly go over because I like the look of this, man, and I have to say, this looked to me much better than Concord. This is FragPunk. It's a sort of arena shooter, live service game whereby you can change sort of the world where they have like cheat code cards or whatever. Where you can like give them big heads so you can get some headshots, or you can grow, some more areas to hide in, like grass or something. I don't know what all the cards are that you'll have, but this is a free-to-play game and looked absolutely amazing. I think this is going to absolutely smash Concord to bits. It's playing in that same arena as Overwatch, but I felt infinitely more positive about this game, as well as I think part of the fact is that it's, this is not their big showcase game that they're showing. Like, for PlayStation, I think on their side of the fence, this was their big showcase game, right? It was the FragPunk of their show. So it was absolutely amazing to sort of see this sort of sandwiched in there. I don't know if you guys got a lot to say about this, but apparently from all reports, I think Ryan McCaffrey was saying, and anyone that's got a chance to play it, because it was show floor, they said that it was pretty fun. and they really liked it. So this could definitely be that competition for Apex. Definitely in the competition for Concord as well. When you think about day one, Concord's $40, and this is absolutely free, right? Jump in and play the beta very, very soon, I think, is coming up. So, yeah, look, again, I was like, damn, I'm always down for another shooter, and if it's good and it's free to play, I'm definitely in. I'm even playing that terrible Ubisoft Extravagant game. So, you know, if it's a first-person shooter, I'll give it a go. What'd you guys think? Yeah, Concord is already dead, 110%. What'd you guys think of this one? Real quick, we do a quick fire round. We'll move on to the next game. So, Blue, where are you at with this? Keen? Not keen?
Concord looks way better than this. I'm not interested in this one.
Debbie Downer.
It's just, I don't really like hero shooters that much, but this, no, this ain't my jam. But that's fine. It's free to play. And
she is in a mood. No, it's yeah.
Nothing.
Go. No.
Good.
I would just like to say Call of Duty sucks.
Now I'm in trouble.
Damn, here we go. Here we
I would
go.
just like to throw it out there. No, this game doesn't speak to me either. It looks fun, I would say, but not for me. I'm not a hero shooter fan either. I'm just being honest. So it didn't speak to me at all. It does look more fun than Concord, though. I will give it that.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Donte, how are you feeling?
I'm going to join the chorus here. I don't think it looks bad. It's just I don't care for hero shooters, but I think it looks good for what it is. So I can see that it'll have an audience. So the mechanics look interesting in terms of its take and with the cards and the way that the team gets a chance to play them and it activates different perks. That stuff looks pretty cool. To me, I think it looks more interesting than Concord, but it's just not for me because I don't really care for hero shooters. So if I play shooters, I'm a Battlefield, Halo, COD person.
Right. This is what I'm hearing from all of you. That's what I'm hearing. I'm just saying.
Battlefield, Halo, COD. 2 of those games are Xbox games. So
it's true. It's true.
So,
Still,
just saying.
Just saying. Look, I'm not saying it's game of the show or anything, but I thought it was pretty cool. Here's one that I thought was pretty cool, and it would probably be one that we'd skip over, but I really like the look of it. The soundtrack of it sort of reminded me of like I wanted to show it to my dad, right? I want to be like, hey, Dad, check this game out, because but he would just be like, games? We would play games. But like, this was a really cool one. I wish I could play the soundtrack, but we'd get copyright struck like immediately. But this, I like the look of, man. Like, I don't know what it is that you're doing in the game, but the soundtrack's ultra cool. Stop work animation, just the whole feel, art style. Like, super excited. This one's called Mixtape. So yeah, I think the last one was called FragPunk. I think I confused the 2 names, but this one's called Mixtape. Yeah, I was super excited. It's got the humor. It's got the 90s feel, with some 80s, 90s music in there, maybe early 2000s. Holly, you down with this one?
They did the Artful Escape, and I did not think I'd like that one, but I loved the Artful Escape. This one doesn't really look like my jam either. The teenage angsty thing is probably not something I want to do, but it's on Game Pass, and I'm going to try it. And since they did so good with Artful Escape, I'm willing to give it a go. Right?
I can't remember the name of the dude, but yeah, the guy who made it's like a proper musician as well. So like, I'm keen, man. I don't mind a bit of teenage angst. I've got to deal with it on a daily basis, having 5 kids. So, maybe I could connect with my kids on this one. They could be like, oh, Dad's music's not so bad. We'll see. Umbra, how you feeling about this one? I know you're into your tunes, you're in a band, you sing terribly, but you do try. And that's what we care about. What did you think?
The hate. The hate will never stop me. The hate that you're giving me won't stop me, sir. And the name is Johnny Galvatron. Yeah, very specific, like cool name. He sounds like a Transformer, actually a Decepticon. But yeah, no, like Holly pointed out, they made the Artful Escape, and I enjoyed the hell out of that. It's definitely, you can see it's a coming of age story. I'm not quite sure what the story is going to be tied to, but it's clearly coming of age. It looks like Ferris Bueller meets, I don't know, Spider-Man, Spider-Verse or something like that.
Did you get the Ferris Bueller vibes from when he was running through the backyard?
A little bit of that. Also with the dude driving
That's exactly what it gave me.
Yeah, that's exactly what I get.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah. boom, boom. Yeah. It looks dope though, man. It looks really. It looks. It calls back to, I think simpler time for us as kids and things like that. It definitely beckons to that, if you will. It looks good. It looks really good. I hope it's deeper than what it's kind of showing. It looked like it might have some type of intrigue in it when it shows certain things. Pause. I don't know, well, maybe the deeper part. But yeah, no, it looks really good. I like it. I like that they're using. It seems. I don't know if they're going to be this kind of coming of age simulator studio, because it seems like that's what their forte is. But we'll see. I'm excited to play it though. It looks fun.
Well, listen. If you name yourself Johnny Galvatron, it's a fair bet that you probably haven't really grown up properly yet. No, I don't have a problem with that. Peter Pan syndrome is the thing, and I think, some people can pull it off and some people don't. Donte, where you at with this one? What do you think? I know it's a little indie, and I probably would have skipped over it, but I really like the tunes. I really like the feel of it. So where are you at with it?
Yeah, 12 minutes is it's Annapurna, right? So they did the 12 minutes. Or sorry, the creators of this game did 12 minutes, right? Same studio.
Yeah.
Did they make that too?
No. They did The Artful Escape, which is the guitar one side-scrolling.
Is it Annapurna or something like that?
Annapurna is just a publisher.
Is that the publisher? Okay.
Yeah,
okay. So it's different. Yeah. Dead publisher behind. Okay. All right. Cool. Anyway, this one I'm going to play mainly because to me it seems like it's a good experience game, and that's one of the games I think that's kind of like. So we were talking about this yesterday. Like it gives me the feeling of growing up in the 80s. I grew up on a bunch of, John Hughes movies. So it's kind of like, it gives me those feelings of watching like, Ferris Bueller and Weird Science and all that stuff. Right. But it's one of those games that because it's in Game Pass, I wouldn't have bought this on my own. Right. But because it's in Game Pass, it's one that I'm willing to try it. And it's weird. Those are the type of games that you can end up trying. And next thing you know, like Holly said, you didn't go in expecting to think it'll be your jam, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh wait, that was actually a pretty cool experience. So I'm hoping that I'll have that with this one. It's hitting the right notes for that particular time frame for the 80s. So that's piqued my interest, and plus, the music, it takes me back to that time.
Yeah, absolutely. That was sort of my feeling, and you get an experience, not a gamey game, right? But you get a bit of an experience with absolutely cool tunes in it as well. And every tune they played is just out of the hits, right? So yeah, I was into it, man. I was very into it. I think it might be a little bit better than his previous, because I played The Artful Escape, didn't quite finish it before I left Game Pass, and I was like, I was all right with it, but I wasn't really loving it as much to buy it. But this one, probably buy it. Which is a thing if you're an Xbox gamer, because we don't really buy games. Look, I'm going to move on. We're coming up 2.5 hours, so I'm going to have to skip over quite a few games, and I will shout them out, but we won't talk about them. One of them being apologies to Black Viking, but we won't be talking about Microsoft Flight Simulator because that is trash. Please hit the like button, share us out. Go live 8 p.m. EST every Friday. This one that I wanted to talk about real quickly. I haven't heard much hype for this at all. Right? And I'm talking about the Indiana Jones game. Someone mentioned excessively long cutscenes, and I'm like, I really don't have a problem with that because it's an indie game, right? So the story around it is going to be the huge thing for me if it gels with me or if it doesn't. And obviously my disappointment that it's not a third-person action adventure still present. I still have that. I still really think this would have come off better as a third person, and people can argue till they're blue in the face with me. I'm telling you, this would have slapped if it was a third person, and we would have heard more about it at this showcase, in the, when people talking about it, but I haven't heard a whole lot. Look, I think it looked good. I don't think it showed us anything else other than what it had already showed in the previous trailers. I don't think it needed to be there. It already showed. What they showed didn't give me anything else.
Well, it's coming this year, so it had to be there.
I mean, right? I get it, but it didn't show us anything over and above. It showed us a cool cutscene. It was a really cool cutscene. I liked it. A location, I liked that. But yeah, look, it's not one that I'm super hyped for. So there you go. There's one negative out of the show for me. I'm not super hyped for it, but I will play it. So where are you guys at with this one? Go to Donte. How you feeling?
I think it did what it was supposed to do. We already knew what some of the gameplay looked like from the first trailer that we saw, so I don't think they need to go more in depth on that. I think what they wanted to do with this trailer was to capture the essence of what Indiana Jones is, and that's what this particular segment was about, making you feel like you're experiencing, playing Indiana Jones in a movie. And I think that's what they were going for, to kind of the humor, how the villains are, that type of thing. That's the reason why I don't think we saw a lot of the in-depth, gameplay or fighting mechanics or gunplay or any of that stuff. I'm kind of with you. Like, yeah, it would have been cool if it's a third person option, but I think they really wanted to differentiate themselves so that way people wouldn't say, oh, Uncharted, right? Because that would be the first thing people are going to do is like, oh, another third person. It's basically Uncharted. It's like, well, yeah, Uncharted, which basically is all of its whole
Indiana
creation
Jones.
is based off of Indiana Jones. Like, so wow, you got us there. So I think this is them kind of sticking to their guns. Hey, we make first person games, and therefore that's what you're going to get from machine games game. But yeah, I have seen people, at least for me, talking about it. I've seen a lot of people who are like, that sold it for them, which is pretty cool. I mean, I think they wanted to see that to feel like indie. So for those who love the movies and the franchise and the character, it did what it needed to do. To me, I just more curious about like what the missions are going to be like. But I guess as we get closer to its release date, I imagine we'll probably see a little bit more. Maybe at Gamescom or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, look, I honestly don't need to see anything else from Indiana Jones. I think they've showed like enough of it, and we could just basically move to release. Personally, Holly, where are you at with Indy Jones? It does have a strange sort of animation to it, almost like Need for Speed Unbound's art style. I can't think of the name of the art style to it, but it has a little bit of that, like.
That was the one thing that kind of like I walked away. I was like, when I was watching it in the theater, because I noticed in the theater, more than I have on my TV and stuff, especially because this is a longer scene. It's really interesting. The faces and are very flat. The surfaces are very flat, right? There's not a lot of roundedness with cheeks and jawbones and things like that. The shading, the shadows like from his hat onto his forehead aren't really there. And I'm not trying to pick it apart because I think I'm probably the biggest Wolfenstein fan on this panel. I really, really love Wolfenstein, and I do feel like Wolfenstein is very crisp. And I'm sure this will be
That's why I'm not worried.
fine when it comes out. I mean, I'm not worried about it because I really love machine games, and I think it's going to be really good. And I do agree, it's Indiana Jones. Like, it is what it is. You know what you're going to get, and you should get what you expect with Indiana Jones, not something crazy and off the wall. And well, that's not Indiana Jones, so it's fine. And I love the little choo-choo thing that's come out of it that everybody's memeing. Is hilarious. The humor is spot on, and the little homage to the first game. I think it's gonna be good. I'm just ready to play it, and I'm sure all of that visual stuff is probably not really actually a thing that you'll notice when you're playing.
Yeah. Probably not. It does have that more cartoony sort of a style to it, but yeah, for me, like same as you, I just bring it out. We don't need to see anymore. I think sort of the same place that I was at with Hellblade when Hellblade came out as well. Umbra, how you feeling about Indy Jones? You still on board with the first person? How you feel about the art style? How did it show? Do you think it needed to be there? I mean, we've already seen this, really, haven't we?
Choo 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 choo. Yeah, Holly kind of stole the thunder there. She said it kind of deadpan, but it needed more excitement. I'm sorry. It's, but no, that it looked dope, man. It was too a bit of a long cutscene for the showcase, I think. So they kind of gave it a bit of a lull for what was really a good paced show. So I get why people probably came away from it kind of like you did, Risk. It was like, because I think it slowed down the pacing. If they would just stuck to just action, you probably wouldn't have had that feeling. Although you have gone on record to state that you would have preferred a third person, so that feeling is probably lingering there for you too. But no, it looks good to me. It looks more polished. Each time we're seeing it, it's looking better and better. Same thing with with Fable. Same thing with what was the other game? I'm drawing a blank because I'm thinking of things now. But anyway,
Perfect Dark.
Perfect Dark, we didn't really see it, but I'm just saying, like, you can see the improvements visually it's gotten better. And Troy Baker, by the way, is phenomenal. I just got to give their brother love. I want to get into voice acting, and this dude is a savant. Because I don't know how you go from doing voices like Joel to the Joker and sounding just like Mark Hamill to sounding just like Harrison Ford, my favorite actor of all time, by the way. I don't know how you do that.
Yeah,
And
it's a testament
the man
to his
is
skill, man.
the man is impressive. I am blown away. Like, as much as I'm like, oh, I think I can do that, I hear things like this from geniuses like that, and I'm like, nah, I'm not quite ready, because this dude is too talented. The dude is too talented. So I want to give him his praise. The likeness of Harrison Ford on Indy right there looks great. Like I said, the visuals have improved steadily. So I think it's going to be heavily focused on actually telling us. I'm looking at this, and the way I'm coming to it as a way of it being the next Indiana movie. So I expect longer cutscenes and things like that in this game. This is machine game style. Yeah. That's kind of what they do. They did the same thing with Wolfenstein, I should say. So yeah, I expect that, and this is what I think is fitting. And I think we all should have probably known anyway, since it was machine games, that it would be in first person anyway, personally. But they did give us a bit of, like I said before, when we talked about this way back, that they did put third person motions and actions in it for when he's climbing and doing other things like that. So it's whatever for me. I'm fine with it. Machine games doesn't really miss. Let's just be real. They don't. They land much more than they miss. So they have my full support. I can't wait to get into this and play it. And yeah, like I said, Harrison Ford is my favorite. Love Indiana Jones, the series. And like Kay said, I think this speaks more to a different generation than it does now. And again, we had so many, I hate to say the word, but bangers at this damn showcase that this probably fell in comparison just because of so much we saw. Call of Duty fell in comparison for me because we saw so much good stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't think it's a reflection of the game itself. It's just a reflection of how great that showcase was.
Yeah, agreed. 110%. But still, machine games, I would disagree with they don't miss. And I've always had a problem with their combat, their first-person shooter. Like, my feeling about machine games is obviously been a well-documented thing. I've said it many times. So I am iffy, and we will see. But again, would have loved to have seen them go third person, because that would have been the hit for me. It would have been undeniable. But anyway, we'll jump on to the next one, because we are pushing 3-hour mark. We've only got a couple of games, a couple that I wanted to skip, but there's definitely one here I didn't want to skip because I found it sort of interesting. Wanted to get the panel members. It's not really the type of game that Xbox usually goes in for. But Chang Feathers. This looked a bit different to me. This looked like very Souls-like, very sort of the Japanese, action combat type thing. Look, I liked it. It wasn't huge, but it looked like it has that Soulsy sort of what's the word for it? Art style. This the grotesque battles that you're having, but mixed in with like a Devil May Cry sort of combat style. I don't know if it is a Soulsy-like combat style. I don't know a whole lot about it, but I thought it looked cool. Thought I would just give it a quick highlight, and we'll try to move on to the last couple of big bangers that we obviously saw at the show. What are your guys' thoughts on this, Umbra? Did you get into this one? Is this up your alley? I think it looks interesting. I'm interested.
Definitely. No, it looks really, really solid. It definitely has a Soul styling of it. It's pretty obvious. I think everybody's trying to do something Soul stylish, but it's more fluid, as you could see. Looks really good. Artistically is nice. It's visually better looking than most Souls games. I'm not sure what engine they're using, but it looks really good. I'm excited to play it. Some people were kind of thinking like, "Oh, is this Wu-Tang? Was this really the Wu-Tang? Is Wu-Chang?" I'm like, nah, no doubt, no chance of that. No, it looks good, man. Excited for it. I thought that was going to be the name, by the way, when they did that. Nothing is forever. I'm like, oh, okay, nothing is forever. Then they said Wu-Chang. I'm like, okay, Fallen Feathers. Not the cleverest of names. I don't care for the name of it, but it looks like it could be good.
I like Feathers. Holly, do you like Feathers?
What did you think of the game? Is this? I feel like this one's not up your alley.
I thought this was interesting. I think it's a really good get for the Xbox showcase because their lack of Japanese games. But I don't know. This one seems cool. I like it. I'm interested.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot more you can sort of say about it, but yeah, with the combat does look pretty fluid. Again, it just does look Soulsy, but the combat looks fluid, so it just gives me that Devil May Cry sort of combat vibes with sort of a Soulsy art style that looks a lot nicer. Donte, is this up your alley? I agree with you, Holly. I think they need to get more of these Japanese style games to bring people in, regionally throughout the world. So good that they have it. I'll be interested to play it. Donte, where are you at with it?
Yeah, I can echo what Holly and sorry, I'm about to sneeze. And Umbra was saying. I thought it looked good. I thought visually it looked good, and I think it's another one of those checking the boxes. So it's kind of like, all right, we saw earlier with our turn-based game that kind of appeals to the crowd asking for some more Japanese style like games, and then you see this. So it's kind of like now they're giving everybody a little bit of something. And I think the one thing I think probably we're missing, someone correct me if I'm wrong, but they need still something that is like a platformer for something for like the younger audience and kids. So that was the one thing I didn't see from the show, but this was one that I felt like it checked a good box and it had a good showing for the game. Hopefully the game itself actually is good and has good mechanics and plays well. But this one looked interesting to me, so I thought it was pretty dope.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm keen to see what it's. We don't know much about it, so I'm really keen to see what it's about. Listen, so we've got to pick and choose games here, and there's two that I sort of wanted to pick from. You guys being big Fallout fans, and I thought this might be so. Like we've seen a lot of Avowed. Everyone knows about Avowed. We've talked about Avowed many times. Do we want to talk about Avowed? Do we want to talk about Atomfall? Because Atomfall was that. Atomfall. Okay.
I'm glad you mentioned Avowed because that was the game. Thank you. That was the one I was trying to think of that improved visually. Avowed and Fable and I think those two specifically. And then Indiana.
I just want to play those three. At this point. I'm just ready to play Avowed.
Just want to get that out there because my memory is fading. Ray was right. I need some ginkgo biloba.
Oh, that's a real thing? No, I'm kidding. So this was one of the ones that showed that I don't think got a lot of not many sort of talks about this one, but I found it really interesting. It had a very Fallout-esque sort of type feel to it, set in the UK, sort of dystopian world. It looked cool, looked interesting. Could be like the Fallout 5 that people are looking for before there's a Fallout 5. I thought it was pretty cool. But Holly, I'm definitely going to kick to you on this one because I know that you spoke about this one on, I think it was Reds, using the cricket bat there to bash someone over the head is great. So how are you feeling about this one?
Yeah, this was my third in the top 3, and it's so interesting to me that like hardly anybody is talking about it. It is kind of like a magical British Fallout, exactly. It also reminds me of Atomic Heart a bit with the robots and kind of that, post, I don't know, crazy world. So it just checks all the boxes for me. It's first person. I love the atmosphere. I like the kind of mystery of it. I like that it's not just trying to replicate a Fallout, that it's, kind of incorporating all these other mystical things and the robots. Man, I don't know. I love it. I think it's really, really cool. And there's not a lot more to say about it because we don't know. And this was a surprise as well. So I hope that Xbox gives it a little more stage presence in the next year, so that when it does come out, we have a better grasp on what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be mad at a British Atomic Heart, I have to say, AJH. It looks cool, man. You see your old Atomic-y Heart has the what's the other one that you really love? Sort of gives me those sort of vibes that's sort of slightly weird. Can't think of the word, but he's making a new game now that's called...
Like Ken Levine, like BioShock?
Ken
Judas?
Levine. That's it. It's got some Bioshocky sort of feel to it as well. So mix of Bioshock, Atomic Hearty type Fallout-ish. You know, should be very. It looks interesting. I'm pretty interested. You know, Donte, we'll jump to you. How are you feeling about this one?
I want to see more. It didn't turn me off or not like that, but it was kind of like made me want to play a Fallout game. if I'm being honest,
Right.
like, oh man, that makes me really wish that there was a new Fallout game that's coming out. But I don't think it looked bad. It just didn't do anything that made me say like, oh man, I'm really want to see this one. So I think I need to see a little bit more before I can get to that particular level. I didn't play Atomic Heart, but it didn't.
Atomic Heart is so good.
Seriously?
It's
Okay.
tough.
Because I heard some
it's
stuff
really
about
good.
it, and I was kind of like, it made it seem like it was mixed from some people I know who played it. So, what's
It
your
had
thoughts on it? So you
problems,
risk
but it was
saying,
good.
okay. So that's why I'm kind of like, if it's anything like that, then maybe I'll wait and see. So as it gets closer, or if they show us another in-depth trailer coming down the road where something looks enticing for it, then I might check it out. It's coming to Game Pass, so it's another one of those risk-free tries. So we'll see.
Yeah, well, that's exactly it, man. This is the thing with a lot of these games, a lot of these slightly different games that they are coming to Game Pass. And so there's no skin off your teeth to check it out and see what it's like. Umbra, is this something that you'll be checking out day one?
Yeah, man, it looks pretty interesting. That seeing that damn red phone booth made me think of Doctor Who. I'm like, okay, they definitely making sure we understand this. They're set in Britain, but I like the premise behind it. It's a survival action game inspired by real life events, as it's explaining. And it's 5 years after the Windscale nuclear disaster in northern England. So we're set in that type of setting, some weird setting like that with these bizarre characters and all of that. It looks really cool. And Rebellion making it, the same people who made Sniper Elite and what was it, Zombie Army. So I like what I saw. It looked really good. It looked really colorful. It kind of, oddly enough, made me think of Avowed when I was watching. I'm like, why does this look like Avowed, but like with Fallout aesthetics? It was very odd in my head, but it looks really good. Again, the game when I think about the showcase, I think of games like this. I think of Expedition 33. I even think of Gears E-Day. Not one of those games got leaked and slipped, which is very unusual for Xbox. None of that got slipped out as far as leaks. So it was
man,
they were really
tight this year.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, man, they kept it. I knew you were going to do that. That's why I waited.
No, that's fine. We have no problems with that.
Let me stop. Anyway,
anyway,
I liked it, man. It looks really good. It seems like it's less about pure action and it's more about you also kind of, figuring out how to get through a lot of it, because you can see them with the little flashlight and all that. So it seems like it's not just purely action based. I don't know how that's all going to play out, but I like the premise behind it, the narrative, or at least the setting, should I say. So we'll see how it plays out, but it looks like it could be good.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, moving on to another one that's before we do, guys, please hit the like button, share us out. We go live 8 p.m. EST every Friday. If you're in Australia, that's 11 a.m. If you're in the West Coast, Best Coast, that's 8 a.m. I got to move quickly because we are pushing the 3-hour mark, and we've still got 2 games to go through. And 2 of these games, this one I've been waiting for a long time, and I don't think I'm alone in this. Stalker 2 coming on, I believe it is September the 5th. Cannot wait to play this game. I have heard that in the first showing, I think it was Ryan McCaffrey or Destin, was saying that it was a little bit of jank to it. The first one had jank too, but there's a little bit of jank to it. Probably needs a little bit more time in the oven. The report from this one is that it feels good. It's feeling really, really good. It's looking really, really good. I have seen enough of this game. We have waited long enough for this game for us to all just jump in. Let's go. I'm ready. So again, but it showed good. Showed really, really, really well. They had some combat in there. They had some sort of slow story beats. I think it needed to be shown again. And I think it did show something different, right? Not unlike the Indiana Jones. I feel like it's shown a little bit more, showed you some sniper combat, as you can see on the screen now, showing you some of the gadgets that you'll be using, some of the beasts, a little bit more of the world, like
The lighting in this is absolutely amazing. So I think, yeah, they've done what they needed to do with this one. And I was super hyped, man, when this one, got that release date. So jump straight back to Umbra. How are you feeling about Stalker 2, man? Is this something you're going to jump into and play? One thing I'm sort of curious about is there co-op in this? It's like a multiplayer world, right? So
I think it's just single player, but it looks really good.
Just single player. Okay.
I had a question because when I saw it, I thought it looked good, but at the same time, I had a thought like, did they kind of downgrade it visually? Did anybody else get that thought of a little bit? Just from off when we first saw it presented
From
to
the very
now.
first time.
Yeah,
I'd have to go back and compare, to be quite honest.
I need to do that too, to be fair. So maybe I'm wrong, but I kind of had the thought of, it looks a little downgraded. I thought of the first one when we first saw it. I thought it looked more surreal, like challenging that it would look like
Maybe
real
we're
life.
just too spoiled from Hellblade.
Maybe I think
Hellblade and Fable showing we're just too spoiled now.
Yeah,
so who knows?
that could be it. I think that could be it.
Oh,
It
this looks
really
like
good.
a video game. Ugh.
Yeah, right. Where's real life at? I don't want to actually go into real life. I just want to play it. But no, it looks good, man. I'm excited to get into it. It gives off the metro vibes, which is fitting because so a lot of the team were on that team that's working on Metro before. So no, it looks really dope. I can't wait for it to happen and land. But we know, obviously, given the situation they're in, for them to still get this out there like that, kudos to them. So this lands September 5th, a day after the other game you were talking about, Holly, was the Age of Mythology,
Age of
right?
Mythology.
Yeah. And is
Wow.
it Astrobot September 6th?
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, but this will be
Crowded
me.
time, man.
Yeah, Astrobot will be me. But when you think about go sit down and go through all the release dates that we have for the back end of 2024, it's absolutely stacked. It's October stacked, November stacked, September stacked. Like, I don't know about December. I haven't had a look at that, but like those 3 months absolutely stacked. So it's gonna be
Backlogs are
a
crying
big
right now, y'all.
It's gonna be a very big back end, I gotta tell you. Donte,
Yo.
how you feeling? How you feeling about Stalker? Ready to go?
I've seen enough. We're just ready to play now. This is kind of the effect that we were getting about Hellblade, where it's like, hey, we've seen enough of it now over the last years. Just kind of like let's get it into our hands. So at this point, like, I didn't even need to see another trailer for it. It's just kind of like, all I need to hear is if the game was in a pretty stable state and give us a release date. And it looks like we finally got that. So I'm just ready for it to come out.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And Space Marine 2, early access, as Grey Monad in the chat just said, one of our fantastic moderators, comes out on the same day. So it's another game that's going to compete with. Probably going to have to be Space Marines, Monad. Yeah.
I'm hyped for Space Marines too.
I might put this aside just to play Space Marines and then come back to this. That might be the thing, because that looks absolutely crazy.
Is Space Marines going to be cross-play, by the way?
I'd say so.
Why, Umbra? Are you
no reason.
Too good to download it to your console, Umbra? Did you forget you have an Xbox you can use, good sir?
No,
go find all your PC friends and go away.
PC, Umbra. What are you trying to
go play with your PC friends?
I just thought I would inquire. That's all.
Okay. All right.
Don't worry about it.
You all see this hate I'm getting here? All I asked was, is it crossplay? I just wanted to be informed. That's all.
Unbelievable. This man's trying to change the show into PC. Holly, did we get to you? Did we get to you about Stalker? I don't think we did. Holly, how are you feeling about Stalker? Ready to go now?
Yeah. I think they had to do this because with a tentative push on the date so many times, and then we didn't I don't know that we for sure were comfortable with that September 5th. So it makes sense that they did this. And and honestly, Riskit, that's the smart thing to do, because when you've got a co-op game that comes out and you've got a single player game that comes out, you have to jump on the co-op immediately, right? Because then when you're ready, the community's gone. So it's fine. I am really excited to play this, though. It's definitely on my list for fall. It's one of the highlights.
Yeah, absolutely. Me too. But I have to play Space Marine, man. I cannot. That game I've been waiting for.
That's going to be a Game Pass too.
That's going to be me.
I can't find any information about Space Marine 2 being in Game Pass.
So
I thought they just confirmed it.
You guys are going to have to link that. No, I was straight onto it. I heard like there's been rumors of it. Like I heard it on a show earlier this week. I can't remember who it was, but
you heard
but
on the fix.
I couldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I couldn't find any. Yeah, on the fix, I couldn't find any confirmation as to whether it is actually on Game Pass. So,
yeah. Well, it won't be early access for sure. So you'll get a couple days with Stalker, unless it's not. And then you buy it. Yeah. It'll be good.
Yeah,
it's kind of weird because when they were first announcing Space Marines 2 and they showed it off at Xbox, I could have sworn it had said it coming to Game Pass. And then after that, it felt like after the fact I didn't see any messaging of that. So I'm like,
maybe they saw how good people were, like how hyped people were, and they were like, wait a minute.
No, when they announced it, they weren't bringing it to Game Pass. Like, trust me, I was all over that. I've been following that game since they announced it. I was like, yeah, it definitely didn't say Game Pass first.
Your door opening up like that behind you creeped me out. I'm just gonna let you know that. Which was your dog?
Right.
It was your dog, wasn't it?
Umbra's worried somebody's gonna come through and get his PC.
It's my dog. Is that my
dog?
Dog?
Well, my dog's
that dog. And my dog. Have you seen that kid? That kid who's trying to pat a bear? And she's like, pet that dog. You have not seen that. I'm going to have to send that to you. It went viral. It's hilarious.
I think I saw it.
Yeah. Pet that dog. Oh, I love that kid. We got to talk about this. Before we do, please hit the like button. Share us out. We go live 8 p.m. EST every Friday. This is the game I've been waiting to talk about. The dog is licking my toes.
You know what?
I don't know that game.
I'm going to pause on that one, dude.
I don't know that game.
It's like genital jousting. Here he goes. Where was I? 8 p.m. EST live every Friday. If you're in the east coast of Australia, that's 11 a.m. If you're in the west coast, best coast of Australia, that is 8 a.m. Guys, this is the game, and I'm going to be honest. There's some stuff to say about this. So, when I saw this game, it was literally bringing tears to my eyes. I got emotional. I don't get emotional about games, but I now get Ginger's Phil Spencer moment because, like, this definitely made me emotional. I was like, fuck yeah. And there's a reason behind it. So there's a lot of reasons because everything just seemed to fall into place that I'm getting what I wanted from the next Gears game. I was down for a Gears 6. I was like, cool, let's do this. Let's finish off the story, right? But what I've been complaining, bitch moaning, and whinging about is probably a lot of the same as the Gears community. Is one, they called it Gears, not Gears of War. So we got that. We got Gears of War, right? Two, I have always maintained that Gears of War is a Marcus Phoenix story, and that's what I want to see. I didn't want Kate. Like, I don't want the Diaz's. It's not Kate, and I just didn't like the way the story went. Like, it was a good game. It wasn't great to me. I think 1, 2, and 3 were great to me. But this one, they gave me absolutely everything that I wanted, and they brought Dom back, and they brought the naming convention back. It's Marcus Phoenix, like, and we get to see, like, his sort of origin story. Maybe you get to see a little bit of his dad. There's just so much here to unpack. I was super hyped, super emotional. Had to watch it like more than once to just be like, I can't believe this shit's happening. So yeah, I'm super, super hyped, man. This looked great. Whether we get it in 2026 or we get it in 2027, we know we're getting it. That's all that matters to me. And what a great way to finish off the show. What a great one more thing. And it could have been a great one more thing if it was Gears 6 or a Gears collection. But this was straight out of left field. No one knew about this. Like, literally, the guy, the guy who does usually get a lot of information about the showcases and can feed that back. He got nothing. Like, he had nothing. I think he called one thing. I think it was Age of Mythology, and that was it. Like, I literally heard nothing about this. It was a huge surprise. This just topped off the showcase. At this point, I was at a 9.5. When they dropped this, 10 out of 10. I was a 10 out of 10. So this is my top, and I'll ask you guys the same thing. I'll ask you about what you're thinking about the Gears, how they're coming out with it, but also top 3. So my top 3 has got to be Gears. Is number 1, right? That's the top, tippy top. It's got to be Fable second. Yeah, and then South of Midnight for me. That's my top 3. And it's hard to pick because it's between, at the moment, I think it's between South of Midnight and Perfect Dark because I love them both. But if I have to pick a top 3, has to be South of Midnight. And this was just amazing. So great way to finish off the show. Donte, going to you. Well, actually, we'll go to Holly. Holly.
I'll be right back.
We'll go to Holly. Holly, going to you. How'd you feel about this? And what were your top 3? And so we can cap off the show.
Yeah. Well, this was tied for 1 and 2 with Doom for me. These two were, I couldn't pick between the two of them. And then my third was
Blasphemy!
There's just so much to pick apart in a trailer that has no words. And the Mad World, playing in the background with that subtle callback, which is emotional on its own, right? I knew it was Gears from the moment pretty early when they have the Welcome Home banner in the back and the O's were cogs. And I was like, oh. And then when you see the war is over, right? For the Pendulum Wars on the floor. And then you see Marcus and he's young, and then you're just like, it all kind of clicks together, right? Even despite all the fighting and all that stuff going on. And for me, the like shock and awe moments in this trailer in particular were, everybody points to the knife with the, the lighting on it, which is very, very cool. But when they do that just pause shot on the cog tags hanging from Marcus's neck, was like a really special moment for me. And then the other part that I thought really made it dramatic and really drives home like what they're facing. These are massive men with this massive gear on. And when the Locust picks him up and shoves him through the roof and just holds him there, and you see the size of the two, right, in comparison, that was a big thing for me too. That was probably my favorite shot. So it is the game right there. It is the game that you didn't know that you needed and came at the exact perfect moment. So I'm just so excited. This is where it went. This is what's happening. This is where it's going. And if you saw the interview, they were kind of talking about, well, this kind of makes sense because a lot of the people at the coalition have kind of changed. It's a new team. And so just like they have a new origin story, we'll do this origin story. And I thought that was really just to kind of bring it back home, right? And to it's just what everybody really, really wants it. And who knows, maybe at the beginning they'll tie up what happened at the end of 6 just as a quick little something, and then it jumps back in time. I don't know. But it's okay if they don't talk about what happened in the future beyond Gears 5, right? Because this is the story everybody wants. It's just absolutely perfect. I thought the trailer was absolutely perfect too.
Yeah, definitely perfect. What are your top 3?
This, Doom, and Atomfall.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Look, everything you said there, 100%. They could have an opportunity to sort of tie in the future games, even Gears 6, Gears 5, whatever. Tie those in, by doing the callbacks or so the origin of those in this story as well. Got an opportunity to start a whole new trilogy as well if they want to. There's a lot of opportunity with where they're going with this. So I also want to see the Pendulum Wars. So that would be a great sort of tie-in for me as well. We get to see how Marcus ends up in jail. The whole lot. Like it's going to be great. Super looking forward to it. Umbra, jumping to you. How'd you feel about this trailer as this one more thing? Just perfection as well. Like that moment where he's lifted up to the roof, if you're watching any reactions, everyone was like, ooh, like that's such a great moment. So how did you feel about this? Where they're going direction-wise? Are you worried about Gears 6? And what were your top 3?
I'm not worried at all. Actually, I feel like I'm one of the few people who properly give Gears 5 the love it is due.
Me too, buddy.
I don't doubt the coalition at all. Some people are like, part 5. I'm like, part 5 is fine. It just, I think people get hung up on, oh, got to be Marcus and Dom. It's got to be that. And don't allow for these other characters to have any space, for them personally. But that aside, this trailer blew me
it's
away,
poorly
man.
written. We went through this. We've been through
We
this.
did, but this is my.
It was poorly written.
It's my time. I'm gonna do a Skip Bayless on you. It's my time. It's my turn. But no. I think this is the thing. Like most of us will kind of look like, come on, where's Gears? Where's Gears? All of us were doing it. Every single person. The problem is that all of us had misconceptions because we thought either Gears 6 or the Marcus Phoenix collection would be this. So once we're seeing it, we're like, okay, the Marcus Phoenix collection, right? Okay. Wait a minute, who is this guy? That don't look quite like Marcus. It's not quite. Is that him? Is that JD? Is that Arthur Morgan? Because he looked like Arthur Morgan. I'm going to be honest with you. After his do-rag came off, he looked like Arthur Morgan. Right there, by the way, you see where he gets the scar on his lip with the locust here. I like.
Do you think his balls get shrink in the cold like the horse?
I'm sure they do. I'm sure they do. That's a good boy. Yeah, that's a good boy. But yeah, seeing a locust here throw him around and handle him like that, Marcus is hefty. When they first designed the gears, by the way, the cogs and all that with Epic, they made them a different kind of heft. It was a abnormal kind of build for them. Their armor is heavy, and this locust is throwing him around and manhandling him like he's nothing. So what they're doing is purposely making them much more intimidating and making them much more brutal and scary, which I love because it's going to what many of us have wanted in them making them much more of a serious threat. So seeing that, it also makes me believe that they're probably going to have us have some close quarter moments when we come across them. Like for instance, we had clashes with the chainsaw blade from the Lancer. So you'll probably have moments where you're actually going toe to toe with them, and you have to do certain prompts and things like that to defeat them. I imagine. At least I hope they kind of do that. That's what it seems to allude to. Blown away, man. You hear the subtle tones of Mad World playing throughout it, and especially when Dom catches his hand and arm, pulls him up. Which, by the way, he has to be strong as hell to grab him and pull him all the way up with one hand. But anyway, all of that was beautiful.
Grab him and pull him off with what?
With one hand. But
you grabbed him and pulled him off with one hand.
Pulled him up.
All right, I'm done.
I hate you. I hate you so
World
much.
Class H.
No, but all of this was emotional. This was all emotional nostalgia because I said it on Boom, I said it on mine, and I'll say it here. And I don't want to drag it out too much, but my brother, rest his soul, played as the second player, so he was always Dom. And Riskit, you hit me up after the showcase and was like, oh man, this got me a little choked up, blah, blah, blah. I didn't really admit it to you then. I was just kind of like trying to be, we're taught to kind of keep our emotions in check. So I didn't really go into it. I was just like, yeah, man. But in my head, I knew what it was for me. Is like I got emotional too. I didn't speak on it until I really got to Boom's show and I let it out there what it was. And I got choked up too because my brother passed away, but he always played as Dom. And when we lost Dom in 3, that was heavy for me, man. I was in tears when Dom died in part 3. So seeing him come back here, and this is a prequel set very much in the same world and universe. It's not some set off little, what's the word I'm looking for here? It's not some
insignificant.
Yeah, it's not insignificant. Spinoff, thank you. That's it. It's not insignificant. It's not a spinoff. You came in the clutch like twice now to the show, I know. But yeah, it's not some spinoff. This is a actual prequel to the things and the events of part 1, which is 14 years before. This is 14 years before what we see in part 1. So this is right after the Pendulum Wars, like Holly pointed out with the newspaper, you see it on the floor and it's talking about the war's over and everything. Yeah, this is right after that. So these guys are in shock. This is shock and awe right there for them. Everything going down like this. They're like, what the hell is this? And Marcus is struggling to survive against this menace that's right there throwing him around. It's just so well done. A lot of people I saw kind of calling back to the original Mad World trailer. I don't think it's as good as that. I think that's a legendary tier commercial, but
I agree.
This one is really good. This is not to that level, I would say, but it's damn good. And it definitely got us in the emotions and feels of that, right? And with the weight of us knowing how much these characters have come to mean to us over the years. So I couldn't be happier. Yeah, I couldn't be happier having going back to Emergence Day. I said this too. I hope that they kind of give us a chapter of the Pendulum Wars before we go to this. You know what I mean? Maybe first chapter is Pendulum Wars, or coming to the end of the Pendulum Wars and seeing what happens with Dom's brother and things like that. And then move to this situation happening while we have this beautiful city and world of Sarah that this starts to fall apart. And they said they're going to focus on it heavily with Unreal Engine 5 too, that they're going to really show the destruction of planet Sarah with Unreal Engine 5. So I really expect them to go balls to the wall and really go all out. I can't wait, man. Super excited for this.
Yeah, I heard they developed it in a totally different engine because Unreal just wasn't up to the challenge.
It's Unreal. And by the way, let me name my top three because I know that's what you're about to ask. So my top three, I'm going to stick to what I said before, which is kind of a cheat. So it's top four. And I don't even want to put these in the list, but Fable was still my game of the show just because how stunned I was and still am by looking at it. Fable, Expedition 33 / South of Midnight, and Gears of War E-Day are my three. I'm using quotation fingers here. Those are my three. I couldn't pick one over the other as far as that go, but Gears took the emotion. If we're talking about what grabbed my heart the most, Gears E-Day. If we're talking about what stunned me, Fable.
Yeah. Like I could understand you having to pick the four, even though that's not the rules. That's fine, break the rules. Everyone else gets three. You
I'm
get
a rule
four.
breaker.
Why not? So
I'm from Chicago is what we do. Ain't that right, Holly?
Well, one
Don't
thing I
drag
will
me in
say
your
is I
mess.
think with the oh damn. I think with the trailers, right? I would say this. I would say they are on a par, and they are good for different reasons, right? Because the first one we'd never seen a Gears, so it was like, what is this? Like, what is this? And at the end with the I can't remember the name of it, but the big spider-like thing, right, with all the eyes, and you're like, holy shit, like that's crazy.
The Corpser.
And it was just that's the Corpser, and then just that slow sort of tune to it. Whereas with this, we have that, we know that we've had years of Gears, right? And there's been and everyone has a nostalgic attachment to Marcus. And of course Dom. So I think this and the brutality of this, as the first one, he was sort of running away, right? Trying to find a place to sort of hole up and fight the rising tide. But with this one, it was just, he's with one and it's like really brutal. I think I wouldn't put either of these trailers above each other. I would have to set them at a par, but for different reasons, right? Jumping to Donte, man. Like, what are your thoughts of the E-Day trailer? Obviously, it's phenomenal. What are your top three? How you feeling about the show as a whole?
This show is trash. I'm joking. Kidding. For Gears, so we knew it was going to be there, right? Or we had a pretty good inkling. I'm with Umbra in terms of like I enjoyed Gears 4 and 5. If I have any gripes or complaints about either of those, is the tone. Just wanting it to be a little bit more leaning into the horror aspect of Gears, which the first three I think did really well. Which I feel that they're trying to recapture that. I actually think it's kind of smart too that for them to go with E-Day, because I think it gives them a nice reset of getting like the core people who have been Gears fans for the longest time to say, okay, this is what the coalition can do with the IP, and then we'll cap off the story for Kate. So like if anything for 5, it's like, yeah, I didn't like the open world stuff. I felt that it was just empty. I didn't mind having open world, but you need more in it to do. So that would be a gripe. But outside of that, I thought the gameplay was phenomenal. I enjoy the story, and I want them to eventually return to that and give us a conclusion. For this was pretty dope because I remember we talked to Miranda earlier, and she was like, she's a Super Gears head, and she was like hoping that Gears was going to be there. So, you know, the one last thing, and we see it in red, we're like, okay, this is it. Finally, we're going to get something for Gears. It was cool that they basically kind of threw everybody for the curveball because everybody's expecting that we're going to either get a Gear 6 announcement or we're going to, if this Marcus Phoenix collection is a real thing, that was going to be it. So to find out, it's like, nah, we're actually returning. We're doing E-Day. I think that blew everybody's mind. The whole crowd was basically super hyped for it. The little undertones of Mad World playing in the background throughout the trailer was just like perfect. And then just the idea of them kind of, for what we've heard in terms of what they're trying to return to, it's going to be still more corridor, linear, but kind of heavily focused on making you fear the locust. And I think that's kind of music to my ears, at least when it comes to what I would want to see from this particular time frame. So this capped it off. This made the show was already trending really, really high, and this to me kind of capped it off and made it a 10. As far as my top 3, I'm still going to say Fable because I know I can expect that to be coming next year. I don't know if I'm going to get Gears next year. If anything, I'm thinking Gears could be 2026, but you know, maybe they surprise us, right? And they have been working on it all this time. When we do get it next year, that'll be dope. But Fable seems closer, more realistic to me. So I'm going to say Fable's my number 1. Gears is my number 2. And then the third is probably, it's either between South of Midnight or Perfect Dark. I can't quite figure out which one, but it's between one of those two for my top 3.
Yeah. Well, look, your top 3 is pretty close to mine. Mine were the Fable and the Gears reversed, and then it was tough to pick between Perfect Dark and South of Midnight, but it had to be South of Midnight. So you're going the 4-2, the rule breakers. Holly, do you want another one?
That's right.
We both get another one, right?
We're the rule breakers.
Yeah, sure. My 4th one would be Perfect Dark, probably.
Okay. Well, my 4th one's Perfect Dark also.
Besides Call of Duty, of course, that's always just out there. That doesn't really count, right? That doesn't really count.
Nah,
it's always there.
By the way, did we ever confirm what those COG tags with Marcus head around his neck with who they were? I'm almost wondering if one of them belonged to him, one for him and one for Dom's brother.
Since he was there when he passed away.
Yeah. I wonder if somebody did like a super zoom in on, and polished the visuals to see it properly or something. Yeah.
Well, on that mega PC you got, why haven't you done it yet?
Well,
right?
I've been too enamored with playing Octopath Traveler on my Xbox. Thank you kindly. By the time this game comes out, I'll be playing
PC casual. You're just a PC casual.
Oh, don't you worry. When these major games come out, like Stalker 2 and crossplay enabled Space Marines 2, I'll be jumping on the PC to play it with you all. And I expect you all to be there front and center playing it with me on my PC.
One of the tags says Marcus Phoenix, the other one says property of the something. But I can't see it, so I'll polish it up and check it out for you later because my PC is much more mega. Fantastic show, so much to talk about. We've still got a whole bunch of stuff happening that week. We've still got the Ubisoft Direct to talk about. Still got to talk about Jeff Keighley's horrific, terrible game show. I'm sorry, I will say that. Like, I know a lot of people are like, I don't want to be mean to the developers, but like as a whole, like some of the games there were cool, but they just didn't as a whole make a good game show. And I'm glad the Keighley had a shitty game show. And like, suck it up, man. You're gonna be a dick. People aren't gonna deal with. Anyway, moving on. It's a fantastic show, guys. Thank you all for coming through in the chat. You've been absolutely amazing. Panel members, Holly, let people know where they can find you, what you'd be up to. Guys, don't forget you can find everyone down in the description below. Click on their socials and stalk them. Holly?
Please don't stalk me. But you can find me on Twitter at ThatBlueNumber and then on every platform that you can play on because I'm not a PC purist. I play everywhere. And this week I'll be playing some Fallout 76 with the
Holly,
new
we jumping in?
expansion. Yeah.
All right, I'll get on.
Probably not tonight. I'm dying here. But I'll be around all weekend because COVID quarantine. Hey. Other than that, I started Doom 2016 again the other day. I'm gonna try to actually get all the way through it this time. So because that trailer just had me. So that's what I'll be doing. And then What Wakes the Deep or Still Wakes the Deep is coming out this week. So I'm super, super excited for that. I'm gonna hit that. And then Elden Ring at the end of the week.
Yeah.
I'll be busy.
Yeah. So we're talking about deep things and hitting that. Where is my button?
Clip it in this manly voice. You'll never be able to tell it in the future it was me.
You'll never find.
Oh, where's the mute? We'll go to you, Umbra. Let people know where they can find you, what you'll be up to, what you're excited for. And thanks again, guys, in the chat. You guys are amazing.
I'm excited for the future of Xbox. I'm excited for the games that I'll be able to play on my 4080 Super. I'm excited to know that it will upset all of you peasants who have tried to slander me. The power of one, the power of two, the power of many. Yeah. So, all of that aside,
Lord, man.
all of that aside, yes, I am excited for
Get him, Game on that.
Yeah, that's why I did it. I did that just for him. I promise I did. You all some cold pieces of work turning against me like this.
Y'all some cold pieces.
Y'all are some cold pieces. But no, I'm excited for the future of Xbox, man. If you came from that show and you were like, you need to hang it up. I'm not trying to name names, but we saw people that legitimately said, "Oh, this is a 3 out of 10," and not funds, by the way. If anybody's wondering, he's joking. But people saying that, I just don't understand how you could say something like that and consider yourself still a gamer. You're just not, in my eyes. I think you need to reconsider what your passion is. I don't care if this was Sony. I don't care if this was Microsoft. I don't care if this was Nintendo. If I would have saw this much goodness, I would have been hyped as a gamer. And that's what we need to focus on.
You probably are. The hobby is getting away from you if you saw that and you're like 3 out of 10.
Agreed. Something's wrong. Something's going wrong. But great show. Great being here with you guys talking about it again. Donte, of course, was with me the other day. I got him first, Riskit. Yeah, man.
One other thing, let me just add to what you were saying there. Let me just add one thing. Mm-hmm. Stop referencing sales up against game trailers. All right, like if someone's posting a mad game trailer and they say just buy an Xbox, they're not saying Xbox's sales are better. They're not saying fuck your sales, man. Like, I don't care about your sales. It proves nothing to me. I don't give a shit. I play games. I don't play sales.
Games, fam.
Yeah.
That's what we're here for.
I had a guy jump on my tweet one time. Was like, "Oh well, Sony still does sales." I'm like, "Who? Why are you telling me this as if you're getting a cut of what they say?"
Right. Like you're a shareholder and you're receiving a dividend. Right. Get out my face.
I've even seen a few of who brothers try to lie. Oh, I invested in their stock. Shut up. No, you didn't.
No, you didn't.
Yeah.
Anyway.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, so dumb. But that aside, everybody should be happy for games. Obviously, I'm joking with the whole PC Master Race thing. Am I?
He's not.
No, he's not.
The world may never know.
Oh, we know.
But yes. Ali has been trying to demonize me. I am a console purist.
No. We just want to keep you still with us. Don't stray too far away from us, brother.
Yes.
Keep lingering around.
I'm still here. Yeah. I'm still here. But yeah, listen, I want to thank everybody for being here in the chat with us. Shout out to Gamsley for coming through with us as well. All love to you guys. Hit the like button if you haven't done so. You can find me, of course, Infinite Umbra or Umbra Infinite on Twitter X. And your local, artist hangout. I'm a singer if you hadn't noticed. And man, I'm telling you, I'm talented. I don't want to toot my own horn.
Most venues. most venues pay Umbra a lot to stay out. Like,
That's because I'm black,
That's
not
cold.
because I can't sing.
Man, can you
Like,
just
stay out,
always
black
down.
We'll tell you to
man.
go away. We're gonna pay you to shut up and go away, sir. Can you?
You're
God
bringing
damn.
down his property
cold.
value over here. Get out.
Cold.
See, I can make those jokes. It's not for anybody else to make. No, but seriously, thank you all for being here. Find me on Twitter, X. I'm Infinite Umbra Infinite. Tuesdays, Booms Podcast, 12 o'clock Eastern, Xbox Factor, my show, The Fix with Daniel J. McGee, 8 o'clock Eastern. And of course, back here with us, the family here, Infinite Podcast, 8 o'clock Eastern. See you guys next week.
Yes, sir.
Shit, I'm the only one on camera. I just realized I'm the only one on camera this whole damn show. Donte, another fantastic week. Thanks for coming through. You guys got to get your shit together. Let people know where they can find you, what's going on. Sickness is not an excuse, right?
Yeah, we only not on camera due to I look like a wreck, man, because I've been sick. So that's what that is. But hey, first off, a complete shout out to our amazing group of people in the chat and anyone else who's checking on any of the other platforms that are listening to us. We appreciate you guys for rocking out with us. You guys are really the best. What am I looking forward to? I'm with Umbra, the future of Xbox, man. Considering like everything that's been happening this year with, the Tim Dog situation and concerns of, what their strategy is, it's been the fandom was at a low point, put it like that. And I think they needed to have really come out and show us something to basically make people feel like, okay, this is why you're invested in the ecosystem in one way or the other, whether you're a Game Pass subscriber through PC or on the Xbox side, or if you're thinking about getting one. I think this is a perfect way to do that. I think this showcase, being as good as it was the perfect step in direction to show people that, like, hey, the brand is still strong and that we're focusing on the games. And that's what basically we really care for. That's the one thing I actually disagree with Phil on, in terms of where he was talking about, like, we can put out really, really stellar games, but we're not. I think if you put out really, really stellar games and you continue that cadence, you will start to win the hearts and minds of people, and they'll say, hey, maybe I do pick up an Xbox as a companion device, even if I primarily play on PlayStation or Nintendo, etc. So I think doing things like this, and then if the games come out and support that in terms of being as good as they look, that is how you basically solidify yourself and compete more within the market. And I hope they learn something from that. So thank you for everybody who showed up. You can find me on here every Friday, obviously at the Infinite Podcast, and you can catch me on Twitter at Donte J. Moody. I'm also on Xbox, Spriggan113, and we just appreciate you all, man. Peace.
Absolutely, man. All you guys in the chat, thank you very much every week for coming through and supporting us. We appreciate every single one of you. You guys are absolutely amazing. Special shout out to the moderators, Gray, Udani. Thanks for sticking with us. It's an extra long show this week. We had a lot to talk about. We got more to talk about next week. I'll be sending you over to Ian from the Just Gaming podcast. He is an absolute champion. Tell him I said, g'day. Riskit says hi. And we'll see you in the next one.